Hey gamers, welcome back. It's Gaming with the Guys, and I am Gaming Greg, and we're back to talk what's happened this week. It's This Week in Gaming with Gaming with the Guys, and we have had a somewhat full week, starting mainly last week. And we were at the DragonFall tournament up in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, running a moderately sized Bushido tournament, 10-person tournament for the Midwest in October. That's a really good size because we do have quite a few cons going on in September, October time period here, and so we were lucky to get that in. To help me kind of go over what we're doing, what we're painting, what we did at Dragonfall, I've got a few people who actually participated in there more than me just pretending to organize it. So first, let me bring in my partner in crime, the fabulous Gaming Jason.
Dude, so I found this sword.
Is it an invisible ninja sword? Oh my gosh!
I know. It is. It just phases in and out. So I just happened to find this sword laying around. So I'm just gonna flex there. Also, I must have missed the content meeting where we were deciding to name a series This Week in Gaming. I was not present for this content meeting.
I'm doing it on the fly, much like I do everything.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, well, I was confused when he's like, This Week in Gaming.
This Week in Gaming. I don't know. I don't have any newsroom like I did at the intro here. And to get further insight into This Week in Gaming,
we clearly need a doctor's perspective.
We do need a doctor's perspective. So, Doctor, give me the news. I've got a bad case of gaming with you.
Doctor.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you.
Consulting with the good doctor. It is a pleasure to be here.
I think I need to get a little thing called Live from the Doctor's Den or something like that, or the surgery theater.
I like Doctor's Den. Doctor's Den sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Doctor's Den.
The hoarder's house. Yeah. So so much crap.
No, it's all fabulous stuff that's going to go to good use at some time, or Goodwill.
Or Games Plus.
Or Games Plus.
That is kind of like
Prospect USA.
I was going to say, that's where games go to die, is what I was always told. They go to Games Plus.
That is true. That's how I always tell people from out of state, out of town, and out of country. What is Games Plus? Well, it's this game company store that's been around forever, at least since Gaming Greg was a wee lad, and it has everything, and it's where old games go to die, and sometimes old gamers.
Right there, right on the
wow, I brought it down. Yeah, I brought the mood down. That was bad.
Well, hey, so thanks for having me. I'm glad to be with this.
Gaming Greg making himself sad.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's good to have you. And so before we delve into the Dragonfall, which not only did we all attend, but we all attended driving in the same vehicle to and from.
Oh yeah, it was too cold for me to ride the motorcycle. So
too cold to ride the motorcycle, and yeah. So we're going to give you kind of our insights. We'll show lists and things like that. Just to let you know, it was a 10-man tournament only because Gaming Greg had to play.
Yeah, but it was.
We did have. We would have had 10.
The person who dropped for a good reason. So
yes,
it wasn't like someone just didn't show up and it's just like, oh, I said I was going to be there, guys.
It was a vicious STD.
No. It was for a very good reason, and I appreciate that they did, to make sure that he did not spread a flu or something to all of the participants there. So good on him for pulling out.
Didn't provide the Adepticon special from 2022.
Yes, indeed. But before we jump into the Dragonfall experience, it sounds like a concert thing or something. The Dragonfall experience.
Ooh.
Bring gaming into your home.
Oh.
Well, we're going to talk about what we're. So first, I want to talk about Kickstarters we're interested in. Now, Jason, you have your Kickstarter that you're interested in getting for your wife. So we'll start with that one.
Yeah,
that's going to have a lot of interest in many people here.
Clearly, you never know. This could be for that gamer that's trying to get their significant other into, and if they're into Sanrio, apparently there's this Hello Kitty Day at the Park, which I'm going to probably look into a little bit more. My wife's big into Sanrio and big into Hello Kitty, so
let me see if I can find it.
I think it's like $30 or $60, and it looks like that it could be interesting, and looks like that there is some component of like board building with it. It's almost like Dungeon Dice Monster met Hello Kitty. Which, I mean,
Oh.
from the original game, I like the original Dungeon Dice Monster when they came out with that. So I might look into this a little bit more and see if that ends up on the shopping cart possibly.
Okay, I'm just seeing if I could try to find it really quick here.
I literally
Day
just
in the
clicked-
Park. Here it is. I got
Yeah.
it. I'm sharing the screen so people could see this. Yeah. Oh, did it show up? Oh, I got to switch to this. There we go. There it is. Look at that. It's beautiful.
108 grand.
It's already made 108 grand with
What was the goal? It's
10,000. 10,000.
All right,
cool.
Dude, it was probably funded within, I'm only surprised it only got 1,500, so it must not be that well known. Maestro Media. Brand new tabletop experience. Ooh, look at that. It's got everybody. Ooh, look, that's got Karopi.
Well, yeah, he's Sanrio. It just doesn't have Gutnyama.
It doesn't have Hamtaro.
Hamtaro's not Sanrio.
Well, that's probably why then.
No, I mean, like, they don't have a Gretzko. They don't have Gutnyama.
So
are these Bushido samurai?
I mean,
it plays like Bushido.
It's Bushido. It's Bushido cute.
You know what it looks like? It looks like just really quick. It looks like Carcassonne. No, it looks like
Dungeon Dice Monsters.
Board game version of League of Legends. So you have your allies, and you're sending your different. I'm going to send my team of Hello Kitty and whatever
Melody.
that dude is.
That's Happy Melody, I think.
Happy Melody and whatever the bad penguin is. They're going to go and slaughter the others in a bloodbath and orgy of
kitty slaughter.
Yes.
Okay.
They're way too happy. Cupcakes. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got to stop this. I was going to
say. I mean, you might want to get out of this again.
Oh
yeah.
Oh.
My wife is interested into this, and especially it's like if it's something I can at least translate for her, because I would have a hard time translating Lorcana for her.
Yeah.
For her to get into Lorcana, because I think she would probably enjoy that too, but it's just right now it's the translation barrier for me.
Well, then I just need to get you a box from friggin' Madrid. Big deal.
Oh, they sell them there. Oh, well, I mean, I shouldn't say
they have localizations for all kinds of languages, so I'm sure Spanish is one of them, dude.
And I'm sure that there's not skeezy-looking men standing at the Madrid Target.
Version of Madrid Target scalping their Lorcana.
Hola.
Greasy
Hola. You have Lorcana.
Donde está la Lorcana?
It's Antonio Banderas. Guy standing there with a cigarette in his mouth. I'm looking for a Lorcana.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, all right. So that's enough of that. So to now I shouldn't have closed the Kickstarter stream. That was real.
To
dumb,
real
right?
Kickstarter items.
No, they're all Kickstarters. They're all Kickstarters.
So the next Kickstarter we want to talk about. What was that, Eric?
It's the Moonstone one, wasn't it?
You want to talk about Moonstone?
I want to talk about Moonstone. I do. I'm trying to.
We don't talk about Moonstone. No.
Go ahead and. So what have we found out? I'm getting Moonstone up.
Well, I think you said that there was 13 days left or something. Was that the
16 days left?
When it decides to actually open, there we go.
Oh, wait,
Shades of Moonreach.
Oh wait, wrong thing. I'm sorry.
10 days. So as of taping of this, which was taped on October 15th, there are 10 days to go. I'm going to add the stage. There we go. And let's see if we can make this bigger.
Shades of Moonreach. Yeah,
Shades of Moonreach. So they are funded.
But they've got less than Hello Friggin' Kitty. This is heartbreaking to me, but I'm going to move out of my life.
Hello
Kitty. And half the number of backers, but it's like 30%. This is just unacceptable in so many ways.
I'm just saying.
Saying. But then again, the price point is a hell of a lot cheaper on Hello Kitty.
Price point is much cheaper in Hello Kitty with its cardboard punch outs. Now, if they had miniature cardboard kitties that I could paint, I'm totally going for it.
So give me, Greg. Have you backed this yet? Are you?
I have not.
You're getting in though, yeah.
I am going to probably get in. I'm going to just wait a little bit. Gaming Greg has to check his gaming funding.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
I'm always bad because I end up just sticking up to the very end and then just end up getting stuff post-released, or it just depends on what it is. I'm a one-faction kind of dude, so it's like if there's something that goes along with my pirates or the Goblin Pirates, I'll probably get it. But to be quite honest, I don't. It's been a while since I've been on Kickstarter to look at other stuff. Usually, it's from the group chats where we start talking about it, and even then, I forget to take a look at it.
I wish I had your chill, and my wife wishes I had you guys' chill. We talked about that as we sat down for a couple of glasses of wine today.
That is
My wife
true.
actually mentioned that she wished I had you guys' chill. I went to the tomb level, which is basically give me everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how much? It's 165, so 201. That's not terrible. I'm guessing you get a crap ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's like
You're
$200.
getting one,
Shipping's
two,
going to be
three,
about
four,
$20
five,
because
six,
they usually do about $20 flat shipping to the US. So
yeah, I didn't see what it was. So they kind of give you an estimate for it. I know if I get coffin, it's $17 shipping. So it's probably a little higher because you're getting more.
they're going to be cool about it, though. I can imagine it's probably going to be $35, whatever, for shipping. But from England, and when Tom, the owner of Goblin King, ships, he ships quickly.
Yes.
So when
Well,
they
that's 'cause
are
he
ready,
uses DHL.
yeah, I mean, seriously, these are courier. They don't screw around. So when it's time to fulfill, this is going to fulfill quickly. But yeah, I went Tomb, and the reason I went Tomb was because this way I can just have everything and get it out of the way.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I unlike Jason, am not a one faction dude. I tend to just buy every damn thing, and this way I have all of my options available to me. But the great thing about Shades is that there's so many of these dudes that work with other factions as well, right? You got some that work with the Commonwealth. You got some that work with the Dominion. You got some that work with the Cult. So, you're going to be able to mix and match a little bit of this kind of stuff here. And I think there actually are a couple that you're going to want, Jay.
Okay.
There's one little dude. What the hell is his name? Joby, I think. He's a
Joby's
goblin.
Joby's already out. He's not part of this.
Oh, is he really already out?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. He's already out. There's a few shades that are out. Joby is not in. So here I'm going to show you because we're going to look at that because they've actually added. So we did the roundup of everybody that had posted stuff, and then of course Goblin King Games pulled a fast one, added the nanny, which we didn't talk about, but they let somebody else talk about. And then when the Kickstarters opened up, it's like holy crap, there's still more things that they didn't talk about. So I was absolutely amazed. So I'm going to quickly kind of scroll through so these are the sets that you could get, and you get 3. They've got Charge of the Fright Brigade, which is all the Psychopomps.
So Joby's in Death and Taxes.
Yep, Death and Taxes.
Oh boy, and now I feel like a goat because I don't have that one yet. Well, I know.
Well, you could always throw it as an add-on.
Yeah, something's getting added on.
Never Ending Nights, which added the crossbow guy. So this guy over here. So I need an undead quarrel. That's a thing.
You don't.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Plus, I just want to get Negroli because he's cool.
Sure.
I need more Italian undead swordsmen.
Yeah,
needs to be had. There's the Shady Bunch, which I'm going to probably pass on. This guy here, right in the middle, coming out of the coffin, Marley. He is new. No one has shown him. We don't know his card or anything. I haven't seen it, and well, that's not terribly hard for them to do. There's Eternal Servitude, which again we talked about. We talked about Victor. We talked about the what's his name? Not the servant Igor, but we did not talk about the Viscount de Falte,
who's riding an undead like elk or something.
No, it's an undead unicorn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that what that is?
I can see the unicorn horn.
Yeah. Okay.
And the problem is, well, I'll get to that. Freaky Fug Day, which has the dude with the Jerry Air, Rory, Abracadabras, which I think we talked about Abracadabras, but not the other two, not Jerry and not Rory.
Okay, that one dude, the one jester basically looks like Harry. Reminds me of the first Harry Potter movie, except Voldemort ended up getting cloned in the wrong place. He got cloned on the dude's ass instead of the back of the dude's head.
There you go. I think
Professor Quirrell, what are you doing as he's preparing to moon Harry Potter? Harry, don't ask why I ended up as this man.
Voldemort has the ass. Oh, Quirrell, why do we have burritos today?
And I've ruined the first Harry Potter movie.
Well, Voldemort's constantly talking shit.
Yeah. Okay. Then there was the Nanny, which will be its own box set, which, again, that's one we didn't cover. And with 3 Psychopomps there.
Right.
The Urchin, Pookie, and Sprague. Then Angerboda, the Frost Giant, who is Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the Echo of the Lost King. So Eric's getting all of it. So we don't need to talk about him anymore. Craig is going the more reasonable coffin, but I do have a problem. So my plan is I wanted to get Eternal Servitude. Cool. I wanted to get Never Ending Nights. Cool. And where did the other one go? Not those guys. That one. Oh, and then I wanted to get the Frost Giant, the Angerboda, because I'm banking he's going to have the Norse keyword, which means that I could work him with Joanna, Young Jack, that my gnome band. The problem is I'm going to get Igor, and if you're going to get Igor, you might as well just get Echo of the Forgotten King, because when Igor dies, Forgotten King comes out.
Ooh.
So, guess I might be adding on Forgotten King.
All right.
Great.
You're a doctor too.
So, if you haven't gotten in on this is a great Kickstarter. They are giving a little bit of a break on pricing on things. So it's the more you buy, you're going to get a bigger discount. It goes up. They were showing it compared to what retail is going to be. They're knocking about £2, maybe 2 to 4 pounds per package off for the Kickstarter. So it's a decent saving, especially if you're going to get like 2 or 3. You're going to get the coffin, which is the 3 set. And then if you haven't gotten stuff already, they do have the full add-on where if whatever you want to get is already going to be on there, but that will be full price. So you won't get there's no discount on any of the new sets that you could throw on as an add-on. So if you haven't checked it out, as of the 15th, that would be Sunday, October 15th. There are 10 days left. Strongly recommend that you go and check it out. It's a game that we all love and is growing in popularity in the Chicago area. I could tell you that right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, and hopefully it will be coming to an Adepticon near you.
Yeah, if I ever get my...
get
thanks
yourself
for
in
that,
motion.
man.
That was your thing.
Yeah, that was like
That was subtle, wasn't it? Very
yeah,
subtle.
okay. All right, I'll do it tonight, all right? Jesus.
Stop it, man.
Just you got to make sure to tone down the competitiveness. We don't need to send someone else to the hospital again like last year.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you know what? He got very excited, and I understand. It's just I have a way of just bringing the show. I bring the show. He got fired up, and
he got fired up.
Maybe it was
That's for
girl in
sure.
the chainmail bikini. I don't know.
There was no gamers in chainmail bikini at Adepticon. Don't
like,
spread
I don't
those
know what
rumors.
part of that. I don't know what Adepticon you were at.
Apparently, the one that doesn't have a whole lot of nerds at it.
The one with hookers and blackjacks, and then just said "screw Adepticon."
Yes,
maybe next year.
The miniatures, maybe next year.
Yeah.
So that's all for Kickstarters, just because I didn't do a whole Kickstarter roundup. I know Monster Fight Club has a Kickstarter coming out where they're doing their shipping crate. You get a giant plastic or 3D printed cargo ship and a bunch of crates for it. So if you're interested in terrain and looking for something like that, it's like a whole dock setup that they're going to be doing. And I think they're doing it, 1, you get physical product, and 2, you can buy the STLs.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy. It's a pretty
That's
crazy
cool.
model. It's basically like
It's
we've got the
huge.
STLs. If you want to print them, enjoy. Mazel tov, do your thing. If
Yeah.
not, you can buy them. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, the physical crates that they've got, and they don't just have the ones that have like the custom logos on them. But I was watching a live stream with, I believe his name is John, who's one of the head honchos over at MFC, and he was saying that local stores could in fact buy it on the Kickstarter, and that they have the digital capacity to print different game stores' logos onto the containers. So if Grog's wanted to have 50 containers with their logo on the side of the container, they could totally do it.
That's pretty sweet. So I was saying we were going to jump away from Kickstarter, but we're going to go back to it one more time. So Monster Fight Club, apparently it has been funded. So there you go.
I'm not shocked. I mean, those containers are bulletproof, man. Those things are fantastic. We use them for Cyberpunk. We're also using them for, you can use it for Infinity all day long.
Yep.
Batman,
Judge Dredd.
Yeah,
you've got anything. It's a good, whether you're playing basically for 28 to 32 millimeter. It probably works really well. It probably is it tends to skew a little better, I would say, either for heroic 28 or 32.
Yeah. Oh, hey, and I should mention too. I asked a question on the live stream, and I was trying to see. So, in a little bit of my global traveling, because Dr. Dice's other hobby is to go to other places and then eat their food. So I went to Jamaica, and one of the things that I noticed is that these people are super resourceful, and so shipping containers, they come to the island, and there's really no reason to take them off the island. They don't have a ton of stuff that they're actually exporting in these containers, so they leave these containers there. And what they do is they actually just cut like one side of them out, put in doorways, put awnings on them. Next
turn them into housing. Right? That's a new thing. Yeah.
So I was actually asking the dude from MFC, I'm like, hey, this is one of the things I've noticed. If I want to have this kind of thing, and then I want to grubby it all up and use it for like Fallout, because let's face it, like in a post-apocalyptic environment, we're going to do the exact same thing, right? It's just whatever resource you have available, that's what you're going to use. So he said, yeah, they're absolutely going to be doing sidewalls that allow you to have exactly that kind of setup, where you want to have like storefronts, you want to make houses out of them. And you were seeing right there on the video where you can combine the containers. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have 10 foots and 20-foot containers, and you can combine the two 10 foots to make a 20-foot, or whatever you want to do. It's going to be awesome, man. It's a really cool Kickstarter, and I'm looking forward to seeing this kind of stuff come to retail as well. This is one, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be backing, though, because I just don't need a container ship.
See, and we were talking earlier today. I'm not going to be backing it because I do have quite a bit of the AT-43 crates, so I got about 10 of those, 9 of those, and then I when I was in my Batman days and for my Drowned Earth days, again, you could also use this for Drowned Earth. I bought the Sarissa. I think it's the Sarissa cargo ship. Mm-hmm. So I already have a cargo ship. I even have the loading crane. So it's like, well, it's basically everything that you're getting. You could be kickstarting here, but if you don't have it and would like it in plastic, or just the if you're buying the STL, I mean the ultimate shipyard, if you got $3,500 to blow.
Do they send you an actual 3D printer to print all of this?
No, they don't send. No, this is actually for the truly dedicated shipping enthusiasts. Provides you with everything you need to build a massive 8x6 container shipyard table with an 88-inch long container ship, multi-dock cranes, and more. This pledge includes container ship bow, container stern, container ship house, 4 container cargo holds, 80 by 80 20-foot container sets. That's 400 containers, by the way. 3 customizable double-sided 8-foot by 2-foot gaming mats featuring water on one side and a container yard on the reverse. 2 dock cranes. They'll name your ship, and if I'm paying $3,500, you better bet your ass you're naming that ship whatever I want it to be. It's going to be the SS I got cash to burn. Is what's called. You're going to get MBS registration, Monster Bureau of Shipping registration certificate, so that's cute. All the container stretch golds, all the captain stretch golds, and the envy and the last one is absolutely true. The envy and admiration of your crew.
I mean, dude, if that's an entire 8-foot, think about the kind of games you could play on a table like that.
I was going to say that would be a fun Infinity game, almost like.
That would be a fun cyberpunk game. And game
yeah,
it'd be a little more difficult because you're never going to find it intact. But Batman, that'd be flipping awesome,
fun, yeah,
dude. You know what, or just like take the container ship and just run it aground, use a desert mat, and now you can play Fallout on it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Fallout too, yeah.
Dude, that's phenomenal.
Here's what you were talking about with the HAB containers here.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. I think that if you are somebody who's going to be doing stuff at conventions, sure, this would be a really, really cool, because this is one of those things that people are going to remember. But
I think we got more than enough. Now, I will say some of these little things, this scatter terrain stuff is very interesting to me. So the carts, the pallets, the barrels.
What's the lowest pledge level they have? Like if you want to get like some of
the support pledge level for $1.
and then I guess you go into whatever the back.
It's a surveyor. So get campaign updates and invitation to the pledge manager. So surveyor is what you want.
You know what? I'm going to pledge $1 because, quite frankly, $1 is, and then I can buy whatever else I want to get as an add-on. So that's fine.
So those dock cranes. So to give you an idea about the dock cranes, just a little bit. So again, these are plastic, which is much superior to, well, I shouldn't say superior. My MDF dock crane is really nice, but it is not plastic. This one looks like it's got a whole bunch of things. It's comparable in size. My dock crane's huge.
40 inches tall?
Yeah, mine's 39 inches tall. Yeah, yeah.
It's like just
14 and a half,
shy.
yeah.
It's like three and change.
Well, and the 46 is, so keep in mind when it says it's 46 long, you have so follow my pointer here. This extends out quite a bit.
Yeah, the platform.
Yeah. So
Only when it's excited.
This container ship is flipping awesome, and they've shown some pictures on the Discord of this opens up. But yeah, so if you're looking for a cargo container shipyard kind of terrain and whatnot, definitely check out Monster Fight Club. It's looking like good stuff. And again, if I'm reading things right, you get the 3D. If you're really into 3D printing, just buy the STLs.
Yeah,
as many of the damn things as you want. $60 for the dock crane, $100 for the container ship. Just for the $40 for the containers. I'm going to be honest, and it looks like, that's the add-on, the digital add-on. So that's like the storefront, the little hab fronts and whatnot. So that's really great. Bridge, container, whatnot. But I mean, seriously, just to have the container, $40.
That's actually a really good price, because those second hands for those AT-43 crates, I could have sold, or the AT-43 crates, like second hands was like fucking expensive, like $60 or something a crate.
They're obnoxious, man. They're obnoxious. And the MFT ones are every bit as good. And right now they've got a deal going on where, at least they just had one, where if you they've got a special 5-container kit that's available. It's $50 at retail. If you buy it from their site, it's $25. So $5 for $25 a container is a steal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, it's as though you've got you came up to them in a dark alley and you're like, give me all your containers. It's a great value. So I would recommend that too. I mean, seriously.
And again, if you're looking for stuff, and normally Monster Fight Club terrain is majority cardstock. Now I will say good quality cardstock that's pre-colored and all the rest of that, so you can put it once you can figure out how to put it together, which I just leave to Dr. Dice because he's got more patience than I do on that crap. It looks pretty good. It's not bad, but if you got old 40K stuff, aside from it just kind of having that gothy look, it's still pretty good. If you got Sarissa MDF stuff that you were using for Batman, or even TT combat terrain with old abandoned buildings, factories, and whatnot, it'll work great. The container is awesome. This container one is really, really nice for nice urban terrain and whatnot. And right now they've unlocked 2 of their stretch golds. They've gotten the 35, they've gotten the 40. When I go back to top, I'm guessing they're probably only a few thousand away from the new hab design, which I would love to see additional hab designs for that.
But when you start getting stretch goals, is it you have to be $500 pledge level to start getting?
No, I don't think so. Let's see. Shipping is not included. Blah 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 blah. One item included. Optional add-ons. No. This is all. This is digital file. Marshalling yard. You know what? The add-on. So the stretch golds are simply for add-on items. So it's no freebies.
Oh, okay.
What I'm seeing. Well, no, I'm sorry. At 35,000, I think everybody gets the
so it looks like the marshalling yard.
The freebie 10. But the hab unit and the new hab unit designs, those are going to be add-ons.
So you get 15 container, three container sets. It's 15 containers, and you start getting a bunch of stuff at 15 containers for $120. That's not terrible.
Wow, $250 for all the digital files. That's
not terrible at all.
No, that's because you're getting 6 items. You're getting the digital files, the container set, container ship, dock crane, and Metropolis, which is a lot of the scattered terrain.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like if we really decided that we wanted to go that route, we could put together a couple of us.
Oh yeah.
And then whoever has a 3D printer can just keep the files and print the damn things on demand for us. So who cares?
That is true.
I mean, $250, $40 a piece, $50 a piece. Who gives a shit?
So if you're looking for that Monster Fight Club, they have some really good stuff. I would say definitely check out their Kickstarter, and also check out their website for other terrain. Their terrain is pre-painted and wonderful. I love their trees. You might have seen that in some of our Moonstone videos. They got a lot of good stuff. Their urban stuff, and even their buildings with the cardstock is nice. And if you're looking for a great new game, hopefully coming to our channel soon, Cyberpunk Combat Zone is really good, and we're enjoying that a lot. All right, gentlemen, that is our what I thought was going to be like a 5-minute Kickstarter roundup has now gone to much longer than I thought. But hey,
Nah.
good thing to let everybody know. So that brings us to talk about DragonFall. So let me give people a little rundown of DragonFall. So DragonFall is a convention here. It's been going on in the Midwest or in the Chicago area probably for about
6 or 7,
more
8
than 6,
years.
Maybe 8 years.
Yeah,
It is a smaller con. It is much smaller than Adepticon. Yeah, I would call this one of your more local, regional kind of cons that you have. They were getting up until this year. They were getting about 300 people. 200 people was good for them, and it was mainly a 40K, mainly 40K.
I thought it was more Infinity than 40K at that one.
Nope. 40K. It's always been 40K. I went to it pre-pandemic a few years back and played in Arena Rex, and I demoed some Batman there, probably about 2017, 2018. And that was when it was in St. Charles, Illinois. And then it's moved to a couple different places. Then the pandemic hit. They wanted to have it in the Chicago area, but Chicago was closed, but they wanted to get going again. So they moved it to Wisconsin, beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, home of, not birthplace of, Gary E. Gygax. And they had it at the Grand Geneva Resort, which is also where they host GaryCon, the role-playing convention, which is about usually either the week of or a week before or after Adepticon, so late March, early April. So that kind of gives you the rundown. The wonderful thing about DragonFall is it is a completely charity convention. So they give just about a vast majority of their proceeds to charity, and they also have some great raffles. You buy a bunch of raffle tickets, and all those proceeds go straight to the charity. And this year's charity, they said what it was, which I can't remember off the top of my head.
Look it up.
Yeah, but what you do, they give you the raffle tickets, and it's not just you'll have a bunch of different bins you could put it in. They have different things, but you're not just putting it in. Oh, I'm going to try and win a box set of Leviathan for 40K. I'm not trying to win this box set of Infinity Rules. No, it's a whole shelf of freaking prizes that kind of have themes.
Yeah, they basically bring in just giant calyx,
Gosh.
like the IKEA shelves, and
Yes.
they pack them full of crap.
Each calyx is its own thing to bid on.
Yeah. Oh, you like Conquest? Well, here's like 5 different Conquest things.
It's
Oh, you
all
like
in the bid.
40K?
Yeah.
Here's 40K stuff. Oh, you want Infinity? Here's some Infinity. Here's some other game. It was a great raffle. And
Very good raffle.
They get the locals to donate some stuff. Stores donate some stuff. Honestly, really, really good time and a really good charity.
Yeah. And it is a wonderful little con. Their attendance is growing. They were at 400 this year. They were thinking they were going to get around 400. We were there on the Sunday because I registered really late for the thing, so I was hosting. I hosted late. I had tried hosting a Arena Rex thing a few years back, and that didn't go so well. So I had taken a hiatus from considering DragonCon and DragonFall. In fact, last year I thought I would try DragonFall, but I did RockCon, which is a great little con again, which is in Rockford, Illinois. Great little con. Probably about the same size as DragonFall, but they're entering their 50th year of RockCon this year. So
I found the charities for this
what's the
year.
charity for
So
RockFall?
it looks like that there are 3 of them. So Feeding America was one, Extra Life, and then Medicine Central and Doctors Without Borders.
Okay, so yeah, those are the different
charities.
3 charities they were donating the proceeds to. So again, great charities, great fun. If you're into 40K, strongly recommend it. They had an AOS tournament, they had a Conquest tournament, they had X-Wing going on. I will say that
Crisis Protocol one day, or when we were there at least.
I think they might have had Crisis Protocol. They had Legion. They had all the big hitters. We brought in Bushido. Saturday was more populous. It runs, I think, Friday night to Sunday, and we were on Sunday. And so again, I registered late. That's why I was on Sunday. I was hoping I was going to get, I registered and I put down 12. They put down 40. Just because they have the table space for it. I'm like,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
if
like a
I'm going to sell 40,
grandmaster.
if I'm going to sell 40 tickets for this, then God
We gotta
bless
contact. We
America.
gotta
That's
contact
awesome.
GCT and be like, "Yo, we got another master levels event this
Yeah,
weekend."
we got
Hidden
three
Masters came up.
we got 3 French Grandmasters tournaments going on at once. So no, I didn't say that. Shame on me. But we would so realistically, I was hoping I was going to get 8, and I was hoping against hope it wasn't just going to be all our locals. And my hopes were fulfilled. Now, granted, part of my hopes were because I don't have access to my terrain currently. So for those of you who were at the NovaCon, you were playing on good old Game and Greg's terrain, but unfortunately haven't been able to get that back due to some terrible unforeseen circumstances to the poor judge that was running stuff at Nova. And to be perfectly honest, I'm glad that he still has my terrain because he's supposed to be doing Wayfair weekend in about 3 weeks down in St. Louis. So he'll have my terrain, and I have my minions that will be going down to collect it. So I'll be able to. So if you've been wondering, hey, Gaming Greg, why haven't you been doing more battle reports for Bushido? I have no terrain.
Yep.
I don't have objectives. I don't have zones. I got nothing. I got my miniatures. So once I get back, hopefully we'll be doing some Bushido again.
They took everything.
Well, he needed everything. So when that happens, I had to fall back on my trusty sidekick for running Bushido events, and I called good old Art from Gitsapalooza, and God bless him, he came through. So he brought all of his terrain down, and he actually came and played, which was great. And he pulled down. There were a couple other guys from Madison coming, but he pulled in another player. So we had 10, and as we said, one of them pulled out, so that just meant Gaming Greg got to play. Yeah, Gaming Greg placed middle of the table. That was good. So it was great. With 10 players, I was really excited for a Bushido tournament, and I had been promoting this for a good 2 months. So good turnout. Again, would have I loved more? Absolutely. I'd have loved if we had 20, but 10 was really good. 10 was really good. If we could have broached 12, I would have been ecstatic. GCT sent us some great prize support. It's already been kind of talked about on the boards a little bit. We had 2 models, the new Imperial models, to the Ashigaru and the
General.
I
can look at his card right now because I got him.
we'll put something up for that later. But yeah, so it was really, really wonderful. And some other prize support. We had some stuff from Mastercraft Games. We got a little. It was a objective placement tool, so that I finally figured out what that was.
Still disappointed that you
didn't put a video up on how to use it. We're all very confused.
I told you. Or I should have sent the message to Ben over Discord. Hey, Ben, thanks for the item objective holder.
Yes.
Me and my dad can't figure this out.
We are not smart people.
There was no instruction manual.
There was no instruction manual or video for it. And I'm, it was great. And the person who got it was very happy to have it. But me and Jason were more confused by it than anything when we first got it. We're looking at going, because it didn't say what it was. But Ben, thank you so much for that. And then we had a lot of, other things to help make our miniatures look nice, like decals for tattoos and print to go on the
water slides.
The water slide, a lot of water slide transfers. So it was very good. And then of course there was the obligatory Gaming Greg samurai sword for every tournament that I run for first place, and the wooden training sword for the wooden spoon, because we're samurai, damn it. We don't get wooden spoons, we get good. See what I did there?
Yep.
Anyway, so Dragonfall. So the day of Dragonfall comes up, and I am exhausted because I had an exhausting weekend. Staying up way too late on the Friday playing Baldur's Gate 3, and by way too late I mean 2:30 in the morning, and then getting up early. And then the next night I was going to go to bed early, and Gaming Greg's other son came to visit, which was awesome. And I didn't get to bed till midnight. So 6 a.m. was really rough. But we got together and we went and picked Gaming. Jason came over. We loaded up with a little bit of terrain and miniatures that I needed here and some other things. We went and picked up our good friend Dr. Dice. We stopped at a lovely McDonald's on the way for a fabulous all-American McDonald's breakfast. Yum. sausage egg McMuffin.
The coffee was needed.
Coffee was needed. Everything was needed. And then we got to DragonFall. Set up there, met everybody. The only thing I'll say, the only downside to DragonFall. So if the people who run DragonFall are listening, better guidance on what building you're in at that resort. Yes, that resort is massive. It's a wonderful facility, but we walked a good portion of it because we didn't know where it was. We totally drove past where we needed to be. That was the only bad part about it. Otherwise, it was great. So
there was a plus side.
There was a plus side?
Starbucks girl.
Oh, yeah.
if we parked at the right building, I wouldn't have gone for an additional coffee later. And she was very pleasant. She was very pleasant.
She was very pleasant. I will say that. So tournament. I'm gonna give you a really quick. I played Ito. My list was made up on the spot. Was I net decking anybody?
Yes.
Had I actually put my list up there, you'll see Gaming Greg. What the F were you thinking? So I'm gonna put up the tournament results, and then we could show lists and things like that. So you can see Gaming Greg, lower part of the table. So my list was essentially Mizuki, Ito Itsunagi, Masunagi. Now my brain is not working. I think 2 Jade Mambas and Mizuki, 2 Jade Mambas, Itsunagi, Masunagi. Not Saburo because I didn't have the points for him. Oh, and a Temple Bushi. And I gave Fork Tongue to Mizuki and...
Oh, you gave Fork Tongue to Mizuki?
I gave Fork Tongue to Mizuki, and I gave something to I gave Poison Blade to Masunagi. Because I had a point left over. And now I'm sneezing a lot. That was my list. Was it? And I played Serpent's Coil. Was it optimal? No. Was it fun for me? Hell yeah. And I did all right. We'll get into the details of that, but let's. So if you look at the standings there, we have a certain Gaming Jason who came in first. Congratulations to you, sir.
Woo!
Tried showing his sword. One of our locals, Hatter, he came in second. Tyler from the Madison area came in third. Then we have one. Who's this person? This Eric Spryza. He's like never been before seen in our midst before. Oh, that would be Dr. Dice's real name. He came in. So, Doctor, I'm going to put your list up. Why don't you tell us the ins and outs of how you got your list together?
I'm going to tell you. I had spent a good deal of time thinking about
weeks on end
about Minamoto, what exactly I could expect to face, and more importantly, what I owned in my collection that I could use. And then I realized that, like lightning, it struck me. Why don't I just let a Grandmaster put my list together for me, and I'll just pilot it, because I don't feel like actually thinking, and I didn't have any coffee at that point. So I handed my box of all of my cards to Gaming Jason, who so generously spent his time while we drove through the beautiful morning breeze of Wisconsin and Northern Illinois, and he made this list. And honestly, because he knew that I was a big fan of Frisbee. So what's funny is, I think there was a point at which, Jason, you really wanted to put the bear in, right? You wanted to put the Cocaine Bear in there?
I did want to do Cocaine Bear because that was my first thing. Because if it's me, I was like, oh, well, what kind of list would I want to play? Oh, I kind of want to play with the Cocaine Bear. So I'm going to try to make a cool idea with Cocaine Bear, but it just wasn't working how I wanted it in Steel, or in Finest Steel, I think is what I was trying to go for. I was like, I can't get this to work how I want it to work. And then Dr. Dice like, yeah, no, I don't like the bear. Like, can you do something else with that? I was like, okay, so this is what I'm playing, which is basically, I'm going to call it the Silver Moon Death Star. It's like, I can make you a Minimoto version of that Death Star. Do it. I was like, okay. And so, yeah, that's basically what I did. Was I just copied kind of my list, did the Minimoto equivalent of it, and then just said, here's like two other, here's Ryo, because I think he's awesome. Gave him the most oppressive card in the game, plus absolute loyalty, so you can't mind control him. So that's like, well, good luck with that. And then I forget the other then I gave you the other new samurai that's like 21 points. That is just like
Yep, Odamu.
all sorts of badass. Which I forgot that he had command animal. I was like, I fought against this guy the other day, and he's fucking badass. So I'm just gonna give you him because congratulations, you have a 21 rice model of 4 dice just barreling towards you at armor 4. Good luck with that.
Yep.
And so that was kind of the thought process, and then just gave you the other staples, which was 2 Justice Scratch and a Hasty Bear, and then just went with it that way.
And then a Kemi and
The
2
Kemi and
more
the disc
of
throwers,
the Abenagi, and I was just like chucking frisbee hats everywhere, and that ended up playing into my style, which is I don't want to think too much. I want to roll really good dice, and when my dice are hot, everybody dies, and when my dice are cold, well, this is me rolling them, so big deal. But the dice got hot. That's how I got to the top table to play against you, because my dice got hot.
Well, when I asked your opponent how round 2 went, he's like, "Yeah, Toshiro's not alive." It's like, "Oh man, did he pile up or did he send the dude after him?" No, a disc thrower came through and his first throw kill did like 6 points of damage to him.
Almost one shot him. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
So that was basically kind of the idea with it. So after you were like, I don't like the bear. I don't want to really do with the bear. I was like, okay, so let's do this. And I give you Army of Minimoto. I was like, all right, we'll go with this because, oh, darn, your disc throwers get engaged in melee. Congratulations. You have to still overcome an armor 3 model, even if it's throwing 2 dice at you.
Okay. Go all defensive and just, so your
success
level 2. All right.
Yeah. Still do just 1 and 1. And if, God forbid, he's just like, I really hurt you, because I think the disc throwers are still, their melee strength on their weapon still 0. So it's like, if someone doesn't throw a die in defense there, it's like, oh, well, congratulations. I just got you on the 6. And it's like, I don't care if it's dice plus anything. I'm hitting you on the 6 because you didn't put a defense die in.
Yep. Got to be careful. No, so yeah, Jason's whole the whole idea was, hey, let's play the range game with Minimoto because supposedly that sucks for them. Which
I didn't put any Fire Kami in.
No, you didn't put any Fire Kami in, but Fire Kami would have been, that's a different type of range game, which they took away before, when you used to be able to throw the frisbees and then light them on fire.
That, and also you could just like blitz the Fire Kamis up the field now that they're slower.
Just
a little bit tough. It's a little bit tougher.
They're the slow Fire Kami. So that was the gist of Eric's list. So Jason, as the winner of this one, you played your beloved Silver Moon, and again, not a bastardization of Silver Moon, which somebody's doing a Ronin theme. He did pure Silver Moon.
I did pure roses because
Jade Rose Gumi.
Because Grandmaster Cody's like, oh no, Jason can't play normal Silver Moon because if you guys Brown beat me into not playing Temple, he can't play it except for Jade Rose. Then I come and point to him, well, I won the tournament with Jade Rose. Like, no, you won the tournament with Wasapu. And then Jade Rose just happened to be there. And I was like, okay.
That is not true.
I ran
that is not true.
I ran James Road Gumi, though.
It was your Jade Roses that did well. It was not Wasapu. You know why?
Oh, because you killed Wasapu on turn 2.
I sent him quickly to his final grave. Done.
You killed Wasapu very quickly. Other people
Frisbee
did
to
not
the
get
face. Yeah. No, I was not. I was not going to have you shooting me with that guy.
But I mean, otherwise, the idea basically was I basically just took the list that I had played against the Fox box with, except I swapped out Hotai's Blessing for Shrewd Negotiations just to give myself a little bit of flexibility. And believe me, there was like many times in the game like, God damn, I want Hotai's Blessing so bad right now because I'm rolling a ridiculous amount of 1s.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I know. So overall, it was worth having Shrewd Negotiations just as a backup insurance policy, even though one game I didn't even use it. The other game, it was against the Foxes in round 2. And all there are free, so it's like I canceled one of them out just because like I don't want to deal with this test because I was failing all the other ones too, which sucked.
You had a lot of one. Yeah, you do have quite a few one key models out there that could be affected by it.
Yeah, and mine and Dr. Dice game, which we'll talk about, I actually did end up using it at a good moment where it probably forced him to do something he didn't want to do. So it was worth having it. The rest of it, I am definitely. I've always been a fan of Haname. It's just it's always been tough to kind of get her to work. Now now with the errata and everything, with her kind of revamp, she's absolutely worth the 16 rice, and I think more people should give her a go. I know that she's all very like, oh, her big thing is you get her for Kiss of the Rose, and it's super predictable and X, Y, and Z. It's like, yes, but now the far-reaching support she offers to the other roses phenomenal, with being able to basically make them all boost it too.
Mhm.
That's huge. Yes, Kiss of the Rose is still a thing, but at the same time too, that's in a great insurance policy to be like, yeah, don't go into her because congratulations, I've taken you over. And now that she's also worth 16 rice, definitely you take her with two other roses like I did. Subaki is now like S tier. Like I really like taking her more now.
Mhm.
Now that I can throw blind bombs a little bit more freely. And then the fact that they gave her agility or alacrity or no agility. So anytime she does a scenario, so now she wants to be up the field grabbing scenario objectives because she can replenish her activation tokens. Um,
Okay.
so she's really up there now, and she's not a slouch of a fighter because most of the time she's holding on to most of her key anyways. Um, so overall, I was impressed with them when we played in our game.
Mhm.
But I was also expecting myself to be like, I'm playing the roses. The only real scariness I have is the Death Star, with GwtG and Senpu as backup. So it's like maybe I might outnumber some people, but that's about it. Otherwise, I was fully expecting to be playing for Wooden Sword.
Yeah, you're definitely a swarmy list with this one, and so there for some of the elite lists, it could be a bit to chew on, especially because they have to come to you.
Mhm.
And you could sit back a little bit with Waspu and two other crossbowmen and kind of
Just shoot.
shoot them as you want, you know,
Yep. And
and
then also
not
there were a
worry
couple
too much about it.
opportunities where I was using disguise a little bit more intelligently. So I know at least there was one failed disguise check throughout the tournament, maybe two. So having Haname especially just harass people. And then it's like, well, you need a 7 to identify her. That's kind of sucks, even on like a 2 key model, even on a 3 key model, it's a little bit tough.
Yeah,
Um,
seven is a little more of a challenge.
So I made good use of everything to the best of my knowledge. So again, every round was an uphill fight for me. Um, but like I said, I was just very impressed that I ended up actually winning it all versus like, I'm probably going to be playing for that wooden sword right there and figure it out. And then of course, what do I find in the final round? My own creation. It's like, oh yeah, I've been kicking ass with this. Like, son of a
I've
bitch.
created a monster.
That's basically what I felt like going into playing against Dr. Dice. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
So let's take a look at the different rounds. Let's go to round one. So we'll start at round one, and I'll let you guys talk about your experiences. So round one, we'll start with the we'll go from highest rank to lowly rank, which would be me. Looks like Jason, you took on
I played art.
good old Art from Gitsapalooza, and he was running his Dissension. That looks like it was a 2-0 victory. We're playing Sekyu, which was Zones. So, Jace, how did that go against Art from what you can remember?
I was like, crap, I got to fight Bizembo. And that's pretty much how it went.
You have 3 mini Bazembos, so don't go.
Didn't get that close to him though, and Bizembo Bizembo killed one of my crossbowmen, like shot him dead outright. Would have gotten Wasapu, but I had Wasapu on the other side where he couldn't get to him easily.
Okay.
But I mean, it was a definite back and forth. In some ends of it, Art was definitely trying to brush up on his rules, so it was a little bit. It was working through on that part. And then it was just kind of like a slow grind going through, and eventually I just started overtaking the dam a little bit. And then also Haname got lucky on a couple of rolls where I was actually able to beat Bizembo with Spirit and pull him away from things. So then all of a sudden that freed up some of the middle for me to go up and do other things and start moving other models and like killing and shooting to Robo to death. And just kind of working it through the best I could that way. And then it basically got to the point then where I had a large number advantage on him. I think Art ended the game with Bizembo, who I had just done the honorary because we were going to run out of time before we could get to the last scoring objective, which was Crossbowman shooting him in the back and did like 6 points of damage to Bizembo. and then he had Nagabo still left. So I think he only had those two left
Mhm.
versus me, where I had lost I lost I think 2 models at that point, which was one crossbowman that Bazembo killed, and then
Mhm.
I had Tsubaki, which was screwing with him all game because I was blind powdering a bunch of his stuff. And even Bart,
Mm.
I was even surprised when Art came around the corner with it because he sidestepped out and he's like, "I'm gonna shoot this. I'm gonna shoot this bitch dead here." I was like, "Damn, Art, that's like
Art wouldn't have said that.
no." Well, no, he said like, "I'm gonna shoot the effing bitch." I was like, "Whoa, Art, like Art, you're like the Mister Rogers of gaming here." And oh yeah, he shot her like he maxed out on or he maxed out. I think he rolled like a 9 on it to hit her. He needed like 5s, I think, to hit her. So rolls 9 to hit her, and then he rolls box cards. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna take this model off because as far as the game is concerned, you just hear a crack, and then you look over at Tsubaki, and her head's just gone because her spine got ripped down. It's just like dead. She's dead.
Wow.
So Art had his stuff bunched up at the right position where he was 1 inch away from all of his stuff, but it was outside of my range. So I was blinding, and I got to a point where I blinded like 3 things in one go.
Well, that was your one go because you only have one ammo on it.
But no, it's they got.
Oh, they took ammo off of it. Oh,
Yeah.
That's right, the errata.
Yeah, and then the turn before
disgusting.
though, I got 2 models. So the turn beforehand, I nailed 2 models. The turn after that, I nailed 3 models because he had to bring in support. So he was actually really harassing her. So I understood why, but it was just like, damn, Art actually is like pissed about her right now. So it's like, dead to rights, but damn.
Okay, way to make Art's return to playing Bushido miserable.
I mean, it was still like, again, there was still like a good chance there. Again, I feared Bazembo. It was just I was fortunate that I had won a couple 2 key like 2 key challenge tests to like kind of pull him out of play, so then that way I could kind of start moving some stuff around. But the issue was then like, well, then I have Bazembo staring my ass down and just gonna start picking stuff off where there was more things.
Yep, that's horrible. All right, so that was a 2-0 victory against Art, so that was very good. Good way to start off the day. Eric, looks like you were fighting Dylan in round 1, and he was playing a Shiho list.
He was playing a Shiho list.
Let's see if I
very rangy Shiho list. Yeah.
Keep talking. I'm just going to pull up his list so we could take.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was a very rangy Shiho list, and I think this one here it was just very back and forth, right? We both rushed up, both grabbed zones.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, this scenario is all about getting scenario points. They reset on 2, 4, 6, and then it's just your whole idea is you're controlling the zones. And one interesting thing about it is it's not just about who has the most dudes in the zone. It's also you have to have this more guys than your opponent and higher rice value.
Yep.
So you can't just have a bunch of jung crabs in the zone, right? It's got to be you got to have the higher the point value. So even though a lot of times I did have the higher rice value, maybe I had less guys or whatever. So we ended up going back and forth, and that's what created the slugfest. And we just beat the tar out of each other, and it eventually got to a point where it was that armor 3 making a massive difference, right? Because that gives Minamoto the staying power.
Yep.
And then in addition to that, it was also those justice scratches that were used at, and I want to say a pretty decent time for both. There was one where it was the far left control zone. If my Ebanagi died, then he was going to get the point. So I used the justice scratch, and it ended up having it down to 1 damage, and then he still needed it. So essentially, it was almost like making these guys durable. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like I used both of them on frigging Ebanagis. The same Ebanagi, because I just did not need that guy to die. He had
to hold the zone. I get it.
And it worked, right? I mean, so that was that, and then it wound up that he was able to. We were tying on the one on the left, we were tying on the one in the middle, but on the one on the right hand side, one of my samurai, and I think it was Hoshi Odamu was over there, and I think Sora also happened to be over there, and the two of them just beat somebody to just a bloody pulp. And then
I forgot to give you
that. Oh yeah, and then Sora kind of went over to the middle, but Hoshi held the zone on the far right side, so I ended up getting the point for that. So I ended up winning 1-0 on that one. But man, it was a real slugfest, And I'm going to tell you, Dylan was just a great opponent, a great guy to play against. I'd love to play against him again.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that is good. All right. So that was a good roundup. So why do I have this? This is weird.
I'll let you look at lists. That's neat.
No, I'm just doing something. Oh, just close.
It's just like I don't know why you weren't closing it, but I was going to let you just figure it out.
I eventually figured it out. So then my first round game was against the person who eventually came in second place, and that was Hatter from our local meta. And he was playing. He got the 3-0 victory. Shocking.
Blood Brothers.
He was playing he was playing Silver Moon.
I know. Silver Moon Blood Brothers. I at least give him credit because it's like, I mean, at least he played all the Ronin stuff, and I mean, like, he just does what every other Ronin player does, which is like, I just want the Silver Moon cards. So
yeah, he had a bunch of inside informations in Hands of the Kami, Shrewd Negotiation, and then Bachi, eldest brother Hiroto, Kiyozumi, Shenzing, Shouhuang, and Yinjiang, and War Weary, and You're the Risen Sun. So essentially, when we started out, I lost placement, and that's probably where I lost it. So I had to deploy first, knowing that Hiroto was going to be coming in. So I had to gamble, and then I should have used my brain. Because I deployed first, he could figure out where I was going to have Mizuki, and then could try to have Hiroto come in and assassinate her. What I should have done was harken back to my good old 40k days and castle up Mizuki, because Mizuki had forked tongue, and then I would have been possibly a little better off. I will say I tar pitted for a while, so I was trying to do it, but it also ended up slowing me down where I wasn't able to get any momentum to go and threaten. So basically, I had Mizuki somewhat on my left side, and then central. I was basically kind of doing refuse flank. I totally ignored the right objective on the middle. I was going for the center, and I was going for the left. And he lined up left, and then he had Hiroto and eldest brother coming in. So he tied up Mizuki because I wasn't able to bodyguard properly. And then I couldn't get disengaged. I couldn't get disentangled to do much with her, but it did tie up. It took him about 2-3 turns to finally anchor down that side, because I had Mizuki over there. I don't think I had Masanagi was going up the middle. Same thing with Itsunagi. I kind of had him jumping around, doing some dumb stuff, and I should have been a little more concentrated. Although I eventually brought him up to do some more threatening, but it was getting very late for that. But he basically he crushed that flank, and then he was coming up with the brothers, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do. And Kazumi's given out a boatload of ki because he's got coin. The only thing I did do is, because he wasn't paying attention to the temple Bushi, I charged Kiyozumi, and I was able to take him out, and then I went after Bachi, but that was really late game, and the thing was pretty much decided. We kind of rushed the last 2 turns because we were getting short on. I should say the last turn we were kind of rushing to get it in so we could get to time. We were there for time. Not on my part. I pretty much was bleeding dudes, so it was going pretty quick. But I was able to. I took out a couple things, but he pretty much dominated with lists. And I've seen this list before, or variations of it at our local store, where we play on a regular basis, so I kind of knew what was coming. I just placed poorly for it. Again, I haven't played a bunch, and I wasn't planning on playing day of. In retrospect, had I castled and made Hiroto have to come in further, where he either had to charge Mizuki, or even with booted, he wouldn't have been able to get to her, and maybe then do what I did in my second round, because I was more cognizant of ninjas coming in and trying to bushwhack me, especially, we'll talk about that a little more when I talk about that opponent. I probably would have put a Jade Mamba looking back and keeping Mizuki in range, so I could have bodyguarded a little better. But, overall, it was what it was. That list has always been a pain in my side, and I didn't have the tools to do it. Now, what's funny is, and again, a kind of kind of giving a little bit of a spoiler of what's going to be coming. There was another player who played Blood Brothers, and it was a totally different match. In that one, I did much better. Partly because of my opponent's dice, partly because his list was different, and I didn't have to worry about a flanking unit and the flanker, and I didn't have to worry about the flanker catching me. So I was able to do a lot more shenanigans and come out ahead. So I played the good host and sacrificed all 3 of my points. Not that I didn't try to get some points back. Trust me, I wanted to definitely bloody his nose a little bit, and maybe only let him get a 2-0 victory, but that just didn't happen. So that was my first round. I figured, good. I'm going to get the wooden spoon. I'm going to get good. So that was my round. That was my round 1. All right. So after round 1, I'm not going to look where the rounds are. The round scoring. If you want to look at that, take a look at Longshanks. It will be listed under Bushido Tournament at Dragonfall, event number 9764. If you want to get all the details of what happened. So round 2 sees we had 2 of our locals battling each other in round 2.
That was so glorious when I heard that Hatter shot his own dude in the back and killed his own blood
So
brother.
yeah, long and short of it was Utahs versus Blood Brothers, and the long and the short of it was the Utahs that come on top with a 1-0 victory, with one of the Blood Brothers or somebody shooting somebody in the back and killing them. And that kind of helped decide the game a little bit from what we've heard on that game. But Jason was taking on Tyler, who is a perennial top finisher, and Eric was playing Josh Holder, and I was playing the local Chris, who was running his Long Shadows. So, Jason, how did your match with Tyler go? You got a 3-0 victory out of that, and it was Segio.
Yep,
For some reason, it's not showing on everybody else.
It was a little bit worrisome because playing against you with the foxes, I know that the roses were going to be like, that disguise, that's such a cute thing. And same thing, kind of like last week.
Lots of Sixth Sense, yeah.
Well, lots of Sixth Sense. So, I mean, I wasn't really worried about surprising. The big thing is that there was a failed opposed key test against Haname. So I was able to pull one of his, because he had because Tyler took the 2 bulky wolves.
Yeah,
one of them's like the Supreme Bodyguard, which I don't know what GCT was thinking, but giving a model 6-inch bodyguard, that's crazy. So
there's his list. Followers of Inari.
So that dealing with it ended up actually how I dealt with them is that I didn't actually deal with the models that could really mess me up and that were basically the bricks, but I dealt with everything else because those were within my wheelhouse.
That worked.
So the only major thing that I know that happened that helped for that one is that on one of the turns I pulled away one of the big fighter foxes that was guarding one of the idols so I could flip it. So then at one point in time, I think I had all 3 idols to my facing.
Oh, that helps.
Or I had idols facing to my end that were beneficial. There was maybe 1 or 2 misplays on just throughout the game. And then the other big thing, which is to stop the damn fox that has bodyguard 6. Actually, I think Tyler engaged the crossbowman because I was just shooting stuff just because it's like, I don't want to get engaged with any of this stuff. He engaged one of my crossbowmen, and the crossbowman lived much longer than it should have. So it stopped him from jumping around and trying to save other people. And then I had on the other side 2 of my roses just do a lot of work and make its way through. All I can say is Majesty sucks.
Yeah, that once per game shuts down everything.
Shuts down the entire board. And the other thing that really sucks too, because I had plenty of lanes where I could just shoot the bitch dead, but since you can't target her, it's like I couldn't rain holy arrows down on her
for 1 turn. But yeah, it usually comes at a key time. Yeah, then the following turn you're like,
and killed her. But that's kind of as far as I can remember. There was 1 or 2 key things that again just were missed, and they're just as knowing rules. And then the other big thing is that even though it didn't seem big, having Haname being able to pull away one of the foxes from the idols was really helpful because then I could just prey on it with no remorse and take advantage of that for that moment where it's like, well, he could have gone after Haname, didn't choose to go after Haname. Instead, he came back to like basically his starting point over by the idol, or kind of went a little bit closer over to the queen.
Yeah. I will say, and having played you and having seen some other matches, when a list that has a lot of firepower, now this doesn't work so much for zones, but it definitely works for objectives. But if you could grab all of those objectives early and they don't reset, that's a bear to overcome. Yeah. Even if it's idols where you start to remove it, who cares? I'm still controlling the other two. It's still up to my opponent to flip one of them, and even if he removes two of them, I'm still controlling the third one, and it's up for him to come and take it away from me. And you could put, in your list in particular, you have GwtG kind of there, or you even just tar pit, put one of the roses in place, and you still got those crossbowmen harassing. So it can be, unless you have something that could get behind and start slaughtering your back line, it could be somewhat of a chore.
And that's definitely kind of what I think. Again, I happened to get to the point where I needed to get to, and again, I pretty much killed all of the stuff I could kill, because by the time that we had gotten to time for the round, and I had actually killed his VIM for one of those models, the only two that were left were the two models I was going to have the most difficult with, which were the foxes that, of course, had armor, and they both have like armor 3, and they're meant to be fighting. So the fact that I was able to kind of leave that, and that I was able to kind of keep them out of the game, or at least keep them from like really fighting and causing a lot of damage, and then just deal with the other foxes, which they're not slouches by any means, but they're more manageable. That definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, I would imagine. All right, so that was Jason's round 2 against Temple with the Foxes, the new Inari. So, Dr. Dice, it looks like you were facing Josh and his version of Shiho, which really was more of a Blood Brothers list, and that looked like it was a 3-0 victory for you. So, what do you remember of that particular?
So this one too was a murder fest, but thanks to my dice behaving themselves quite well, it was a murder fest mostly in my advantage. Now, Josh is also a great opponent, great sportsman, fantastic to play against him. Josh and I had kind of been joking back and forth that we were kind of vying to see which of us could be on the lower end of the tables, because that is typically in any type of tournament setting where the casual fun, everybody just enjoys themselves play, is because you realize you're not going to get anything, you're not fighting for like number 1, right? Yeah. So that's where I prefer to be. Unfortunately, my dice said, no. And so
this way, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a Blood Brothers list. Josh got his dudes in a bad position a couple of times, moving people up that maybe should. He started off. This one was idols, right? So it's all about getting control of them. Like you just said, if you can get the idols early, it's really hard to recover from that. I was able to get my guys upfield. They don't fear anything. They've got the armor. They don't care. It's like, we're just going to do what we're going to do. It's fine. And with the army of Minamoto, the Ashigaru getting the extra 2 inches. So Sora and the 2 Ebanagi throwers, they're already up there, right?
And Akemi.
And Akemi, yeah. Yeah. So they're a little further upfield already. And then from there they run, and then you get your second run on your second activation. Yeah, they're definitely moving up, right?
So much for the slow faction. That's all I'm going to say.
No, they look, they're running, and it's that weird 1.5 thing as opposed to double move, which would make too much sense. I get why they don't do it, just because it's a short table, but come on, make me do math.
You're doing 6 inches. That wasn't so bad.
You British shits. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, the point is, you have to think, and you have to think in 1776. Anyway, the point is, we just did it. So anyway, yeah, it worked out really well for the British too because they got rid of us. So anyway, the point is,
Thankfully.
they don't have to pay for our healthcare or our college. The point is that I was able to get up there and I was able to get control of the idols, and the Blood Brothers just weren't able to move up and do what they needed to do. And he started off by walking them. Again, they're getting only that one activation unless they have so it's hard for them, right? And there's a nuance to the way that you think you have to play them, and I suspect that he might have misplayed like that first turn, and by the time that he realized how badly he'd misplayed it, there was no room to recover. So
I'm just imagining right now, Eric, for how you had your list set up. I'm imagining that scene of Hot Fuzz where they're taking over the grocery store and you just have the clerk and the boy and the grocery boys just throwing crap at him, and then you have the police officer just coming out from the other side with their shotgun shooting. I'm just imagining that you with your ebonage, like
two guys and a fuck ton of cutlery.
You have the butchers just cut, or you have the Blood Brothers come up to your guy like just throwing crap like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna come up there. Your ebonage guy's like,
that was it, man. That was exactly it. And I mean, most of the guys, obviously, you've got to keep the Blood Brothers kind of in a pack, right? Mm-hmm. So he had them along with what's the name of their retainer? Their
Bachi.
So the four of them, like it's a 4 unit, it's a 4-pack, and then a couple of other dudes, who cares? So the 4-pack is coming up the field, and I just pick one guy and I gun him down with flaming. Or not flaming, but sharp
hats. Frisbees, yeah.
Just the sharp hats. And then another guy comes up and I whack him. So I mean, by the time he got where he needed to be, I had already killed like 2 of them. And they're trying to move the idols, and it's just not working. And at the end of the game, the only figure he had left was Bachi. But I needed that last scenario point. So while Bachi would come at me, it's just I gotta go all defensive. Right, because I know that under the GCT system, if I table him, it ends. Right, I don't get the point, and I need the point. Yep. So I'm like, screw it. I'll just do this to get the point, and that's what we did. And I think we finished way before anybody else did. I had plenty of time to go walk around and get another. Actually, I think I got 2 Jack and Diets in the time that I took to finish.
We didn't take a lunch break, so that was probably
liquid lunch. No, what's wrong with liquid lunch? That's the way to go. And then checking out, the raffle and everything else, whatever. And then I want to personally thank Josh for costing me a couple of $100, because had the game gone longer, I wouldn't have gone to the Elric's booth and seen all the conquest shit and then bought all of that crap. I mean, orcs riding Triceratops. Yeah, of course I'm going to do that. And then
to get those 2.
it cascaded. So I'm into 4 other things that I've bought for that faction. And thanks Josh. Love you, buddy. Anyway, hope you're doing well. So there we go. that was my experience on round number 2.
There you go. I'm just showing some pictures here because, unfortunately, whatever I did, normally I like to do a nice slideshow for this, but I could not get that slideshow thing to work. Again, Art, if you're actually watching, or anybody that knows Art is watching, thank you so much. The tables were absolutely stunning. Loved it. Painted armies is almost everybody had painted armies, which is always great. Just a really, really good time. So in my second round, which I don't have pictures of anything for second round, by the way, my second round opponent was Chris, who was playing Long Shadows. Chris is a newer player, and he's trying, and if you're, for those who are familiar with Bushido, the Long Shadows and the Ninjas in general, the Shadowwind clan are not an easy faction to master. Just coming out of the gate. So and
the Long Shadow box too, because
the Long Shadow box, which is a whole other challenge.
Really interesting nuances just with how the whole box works out. I mean, Chris seemed to figure it out and get it to work, but compared to Blood Moon, the Long Shadow box is definitely another step up there on that ladder of how the hell am I supposed to figure this faction out?
So, this is my third round match. So basically, when I took on when I took on. So you're seeing this winter board as host and god of tournament. This is the board I played on the entire day. I was not going to move, so that was great for me. I didn't have to move, but I had to flip a lot of things and whatnot. We did not do player set terrain. I wanted to kind of have a nice look to the boards, and I think they turned out nice. But anyway, so I played against his Long Shadow. I'm now regretting what I just did. There we go. And it went well. It ended up in a 1-1 draw. And where are you, Chris? There you are. You finished above me. It was a 1-1 draw, and I will be honest, when we started the match, I did not think... I thought he was going to be under... It was not going to go well for him. He was very good in letting me know. He played... he had 2 of his guys with the grappling hook, which meant that they could come in on my back edge. And he alerted me of this pre-game. Realistically, if he was going to get a 2-1 or even a 3-0 victory, given how deployment worked out and the way that he put his extra terrain down, he really should have flanked in on my right, his left, just because I did another kind of a refused flank. So I was really going to concentrate on the middle and on the left hand, my left hand objective, his right, and flipping those and then work my way over. But instead, he did bring those 2 on the back, and I was prepping for it. So that basically meant I knew that everybody likes to go after Mizuki. So when he flanked in, I also won. I will say the one thing that was going in my advantage for this particular tournament was I won a lot of initiative rolls, which is very unusual for me, especially because he had Tactician. And so on the key round, when he brought his guys out, I won the initiative roll.
Oh.
And he brought his flankers in, and he brought them on the back. And I immediately mind controlled one of them with Mizuki.
Oh, rude.
There you go.
Then, it went down to basically the 2 flankers in the back were non-existent after that. And during the match, we talked a bit. We talked a bit about, where he could have flanked in and some other things. And we kind of talked about what objectives and what to do. Now, I will say he used that bird, that annoying little bleeping bird.
The free crow that you get.
The free crow.
That throws blind markers on.
It's basically a bomb. He didn't get a blind marker on me, but what he did do is he did use it to tie up guys, even though it's insignificant, and if it still gets base to base, I still got to kill it. And it sucks activations, which I took my eyes off the prize. I should have defended my objectives rather than running around trying to annihilate him. And well, guess what? It cost me.
It's like, what's the fun in defending your objectives?
I know, I'm Ito, man. I'm running around with Mizuki. I'm trying to mind control things. But I went up quick. I went 1-0. He's down a couple guys, or at least one guy on the back line that I killed. I'm in a pretty good spot. And yeah, I really thought I was going to get him. And like I said, I took my eyes off the prize, and I just lost an objective. And then the next thing you know, we're 1-1 on objectives. And then by the time the last round came around, he had grabbed both the objectives, and he had tied up my 2 guys that could have potentially got the objective back under my control to at least do a 1-0 victory for me. He tied him up, and I couldn't do anything. So it was well played by him on the end to pull that out. And I think between talking about positioning and using, having somebody that comes in on the back line is great, but maybe sometimes using that as a bluff.
Mm-hmm.
One, you're being a good opponent and letting them know, hey, I could have these 2 guys come in on your back line because they do have the grappling hook. That puts a little bug in their ear. Now, whether you do it or not, You know,
Whole other story.
they can't say, well, you told me that you were coming. No, I didn't tell you I was coming in on the back line. I could come in on the back line because that's normally not allowed. So I wanted you to be aware of it. So it wasn't surprise, gotcha, I'm coming in on your back line. You know, but I don't have to. And again, I prep for it. I think in his other game, I think he split them instead of having them both come on the back. And that's the other thing he realized with ninjas, because you do have limited numbers. Sometimes you have to spread them out to hedge your bets.
Yep.
And so I think he took a lot away from that. I think it helped him in his coming matches, and of course it helped him in his match by denying me a 2-0 victory, or even a 1-0 victory, and we ended up drawing 1-1. So again, kudos to him, and I'm glad he was able to pull that out. And again, I was concerned because he went down early. And he's had in some of the tournament plays that we've had at store tournaments and in Adepticon and whatnot, it's not gone his way too often. So this was a great turnaround. I think it was a great learning game for him and for me too, because I haven't played against ninjas in quite a while. Yeah, the other so let me also reiterate. So when he came in on the two guys on the back line, we actually did some other things. He did activate for, actually did. He what he forgot to do is he forgot to throw a smoke bomb down.
Oh.
And that would have protected his guys in the back from Mizuki and from a couple other things. But he didn't do that, so I was able to sweep in, and then I came in and really just laid a hammering down on him. All right, so that was my round. That was my round 2. So now we go to the final round. Final round.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Like I mentioned earlier, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, you're playing against Eric final round."
So,
like, you gotta be fucking kidding me!
Just to see the disparity, notice these two yo-yos in my car who were eventually going to have to just be walking their asses home. Or on the top table.
We were going to have to walk our asses home if you had hit anything when you're driving over the grassy area of that weird parking lot.
Oh yeah,
that's
real. Like,
we'll talk about we'll talk about the trip home later.
3-point turn, Dad. 3-point turn. Like,
I'm
going to go on an adventure.
Dude,
I'm pretty sure I saw a state trooper just passes by. I'm like, I'm so surprised that state trooper just didn't like drive into there and then flip the lights on after you turned all the way around.
He saw the Illinois license plate and was just shaking his head.
We were in Illinois by then. Otherwise, we would have gotten a ticket. Wisconsin's no for that. So yeah, so these chuckleheads are on the top table, and look at poor old me. I'm on the bottom table.
I thought that your position was always bottom because you're the ringer.
Well, that's right. Because I got my ass handed to me round 1, and then I only got the 1-1 draw. Thank you, Chris. Instead of being up mid-table, I'm at the bottom table. But I was an active player. I wasn't just a natural buy.
Yeah.
So I could have won. Could have been a contender. But no, I played Josh. So, it's great. Now I don't have to show anybody else's lists, and I could let you two talk about your fantastic game. And you were playing Depletion. So it was the 6 idle or 6 objective ring objective scenario where you remove objectives that have been used the most.
Yep. So you get up there, you gotta take a prey action. You've got 6 prey tokens all told, 5 prey tokens all told in your
arsenal.
Inventory. Yep. And so when you prey at 1, you use it, and there are 2 that are close to your deployment zone, 2 that are midfield, and 2 close to your opponent's deployment zone. And those are corresponding values. So the ones that are closest to you are worth 1 point. Closest to the middle is 2 points, and closest to your opponent is worth 3. So you really want to take the ones that are close to your opponent. And of course, your opponent doesn't necessarily want to prey at those because they get the least amount of points for doing so. But there is a strategy to playing this scenario in that if you do manage to prey at one of those idols and no other idol is preyed at, or that idol is preyed at the most, it goes away, which means you can then effectively deny your opponent the ability to get that 3 points off of that idol because it is gone. However, I didn't figure that out until after the game was pretty much over. So
maybe I needed to do a better descriptor on that one.
No, you know what? It's just one of those that you have to play a couple of times, I think.
Yeah.
You just got to give yourself some opportunity to really learn from the scenario. But in this one here, we had a couple of things. Number one, I think Jay, you had your girls in reserve, right?
Yep, they flanked
And
in like they've been flanking in all day, and after figuring out and getting the clarifications for how Haname can screw with Rayo, because I totally forgot. I was like, oh, I'm gonna kiss her the rose Rayo, and then I realized like, oh wait, I forgot I made you immune to mind control.
Oops.
right, right. And the only time you did mind control somebody, it was
Odama at the end.
It was Hoshi Odamu who came over at the end to attack her, which then made him friendly. So then I was able to throw a frisbee at you and not worry about hitting my own guy.
There's that too.
Yeah. So that kind of worked out nice.
Haname definitely did work because she kept on luring Rayo away. Then I did the most Silver Moon thing as possible, which was, oh, crossbow guy, shoot that samurai in the back. And I did that twice.
You did. You blasted
I just couldn't put him down.
Yeah, but you know what the funny thing was? I feel like the only thing that I could do to save him was the thing that I did do.
Oh, wait, you ran
away. Which is at the end where I just ran away. It didn't seem like the minimal thing to do at all, but I actually had Rayo just run away, turn to face, so you couldn't shoot me anymore from there, and really kind of stop the bleeding on that front. He effectively was out of the action though and couldn't do anything else. So
all game
it was just as good.
Yeah. So that was that. I mean, when Dr. Dice killed Wasapu as efficiently as he did, I was like, damn, I haven't seen someone kill Wasapu that efficiently in a long time. I was like, I am so screwed. But then, praise be to our Lord and Savior, Wasapu. Wasapu. His spirit was transferred then to the other two crossbow guys.
Oh, God, yeah.
One crossbow guy who was shooting Rayo, doing good damage on him. Then me and Dr. Dice decided to get into a pissing match with his disc thrower and my crossbow guy basically shooting each other at close range.
Who's the best gunman in Bushido?
Just throwing stuff at each other, yeah.
The answer wasn't my crossbowman by 1 hit point. He lived by 1.
But the Ebanagi, and that's actually, so you alluded to it earlier, this is where it allowed you to really use that shrewd negotiations really well, right? Because, again, I was going to use that just a scratch on the Ebanagi, keep him alive, and you said, no, sir. And you negotiated it away, so I had to use the second one, which then kept me in a situation where I couldn't do something else
later
to save them later on. So, losing Wasapu early hurt you. But I think that the other guy definitely made up for the loss.
Oh, the other two definitely made up for it. And the other thing, too, was, I mean, I took the short-term gain, which, I mean, it was worth it, where I had enough stuff, and I think my numbers did help a little bit on that one, where I prayed at the 2 idle during the scoring turn, then that idle disappeared.
Right.
So then you couldn't come back from it. I mean, and then it forced you, I mean, you pretty much already had you already surmounted the mountain where I couldn't stop you from scoring on my zones easily, but at least I had stuff on my end where I was out of prayer tokens, I think like turn 3 or turn 4, where
you were.
Oh, wow.
Because I got my roses into his back line, and then my other crossbow guy who was shooting Rayo in the back, he kept on praying on the other idol.
Now, that's the other funny thing, too, is that, and you realize that just after
I've just gotten the pictures of your guys' battle, so
yeah.
Oh, look, and so died.
So you realized it just after you made the placement. So the edge at the top of the screen was my table edge, and so I had Ryu over by the Torii gate, and he was trying to go over
Haname,
that. Yep. And so that was the mistake that you recognized that you'd made, was putting Haname over there by Ryu, who couldn't be mind controlled anyway.
Yeah, so I ended up again, it worked out for me because I ended up just luring him away, which did exactly what I needed to, and then I could just start shooting him.
Yep, no, that works fine.
Him back. So I mean, again, we basically ended the game where Ryu was almost basically on the baseline, which was just impressive.
Yeah. Oh, he was on the far right side over by the other idol. He was basically pretty much between the idol and the fence over there.
Yeah.
Oh, this over here?
Yeah. Because it had gotten to the point, because I'd shot him in the back twice, did good damage on both of those rolls, so he only had 1 wound left. So it wasn't taking much. So it was just kind of going up the board, but where Senpu is there on the middle idol, I prayed on that one before he went into Sora, and then I ended up scoring the first victory point on that one because Eric had run out of activations at that point, and then that one disappeared, which then that left me like scot-free to be like, okay, I don't care, I can go do whatever because he can't gain points from this one. And pretty much it forced him to use all of his objectives on my end, but I got 2 victory points out of it. So I tried to stop the third one, but I missed 2 key die rolls at the end with trying to seduce people and trying to stop it, and
Oh, that's
At
true
that
with the
point, it
chemis.
was
Yeah.
that was the only thing that really got in my way was that I missed the 2 key die rolls I needed to either lure someone away or put stupidity on them and, to stop them from praying. So it wasn't misplaying or anything. It's just I just poor dice got to us, and that's where it stopped at. But otherwise, from there, I mean, it also had forced him to have to be able to prey on all that because I think I ended the game with like 14 scenario points and he had 15, so that's how I was able to get the last one.
Well, and you actually it was funny that a chemi, you made him stupid
Yeah.
so that he couldn't prey on the idol on your side.
Hmm.
So the only one who was able to do it was the one Abenagi over there, which meant that I got 3 points as opposed to 6,
Hmm.
right? So that was also a big hit for me, right? And then the one other thing that I noticed, you mentioned earlier that there was in fact a failed disguise detection roll, right?
Oh yeah, when Ray
And,
tried
and that was,
to detect Hanami.
and I rolled a 6, and you said, "Well, unfortunately, you need a 7 because of the theme," and I was like, because it just felt, it felt dirty. But I'm like, well, it makes perfect sense, right? These girls don't have much in the way of other defenses, so this is their primary thing. But the minute you do anything as a scenario, then they're exposed.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I had to wait around for you to do it. But all in all, it was a great game. It was a fantastic event. I was really, I had sworn off playing in tournaments, and I'm really glad that I came up for this one. So thanks very much again. That was great.
Well,
Oh yeah,
good.
I had a lot of fun too. Again, it was again like any of my other games, and especially against Minimoto, where I built Eric's list, where it's like, yeah, good luck. I'm gonna do my best to pretty much steamroll you as best I can. And this Jade Rose list, it's like, yeah, I can get steamrolled pretty damn fast. I have no answers to it besides just trying to play scenario and some other little things here and there, and then losing Wasapu, like I said, does not help. And not because again he's Wasapu, he's my crutch or whatever. It's like losing access to like strafe, and then with him having lucky number 8s on there, I lose out huge on damage output.
It's a lot of firepower to lose.
When he goes down, even on armor 3 models, it's like I'm still dice +2. So if I hit high enough on you, I mean, like I'm gonna do something. So my other dudes made up for it pretty well, and overall, I've been pleasantly surprised with the roses. And I can't really say much more. I've always been like, I can't get the roses to work. It seems like I've gotten it to work now, and I mean, it's been after the errata. So it's gotten more interesting. I mean, there's still some things where I think it could do some other things here and there, and there's maybe some fun dimensions I might start playing with the roses with a little bit more if I'm not just taking if I'm taking the Death Star basically. So it'll be interesting, especially since I think I can take animals with the roses. So I might see what that looks like.
If you take the one Shaite,
the 2 Shaite, I got
the
2
Shaite, then you can take the animals with them. Yeah.
Well, no, in Jade Rose Gumi, I think animals are permitted also. So I think I can take like the pit dogs and stuff.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
So, but no, I definitely had a lot of fun this game. I mean, me and Dr. Dice going back and forth, bullshitting each other, and then it just eventually got to the point where it's like, I'm pretty sure I got that second point, and then it was just kind of, even we like knew where the game was going by the time that I missed the 2 rolls. We're like, all right, so we're just gonna see how much of each other's shit we can kill. Oh hell yeah! And we just basically played out like the next 2 rounds of just killing each other's shit.
Yeah,
that works.
Trying to see how much that we could kill, and I still couldn't take down Rayo.
Minamoto armor is hard to get through, man.
It really is. You got to get the high success level, and then still have to have the dice come up with some decent rolls to put a dent in you. So it's the Minimoto armor, and then the fact that most Minimoto models have 7 wounds.
Yeah.
So that's one above average. You know, it's the exact opposite of Ito. Ito has armor. You know, the samurai, most samurai do, but we only have 5 wounds. There's only one model. I should say that the snakes have 6, maybe have 7, like Kenzo. But your mainline samurai, if you're playing like Lords of Izu or something like that, they only got 5.
Yep, except for Saburo.
Itsunagi doesn't have any. Although if you're playing the new Snake God card and he's loaded with ki, then he's got 8 wounds before he's even going to get to there. So
then he has 14 wounds.
Cool. That's like a mini rage.
But I'm going to be honest, because I want to get into my thing really quick when I played my last game against Josh. So Itsunagi was great for me. I love what they've done with Itsunagi. He's expensive, but I used him to good effect. He is a threat, and if he could get in on certain models, he's going to tear him a new one. Even some of I had him facing off with some. I think I got him in on some of Brian's, our local, who came in second. His blood brothers with Josh's. I'll tell you how I dealt with his blood brothers. It was a lot easier. And it wasn't anything to do with his play style. It was my dice came up big, and I timed a few things at the right time. But Itsunagi in general, while I would love to have that, it really prevents him from using his key feats. And his key feats, Itsunagi really wants to spend key. He's either buying an extra die at 2, or he's doing the double feint, which came in huge for me on occasion. Or he's doing. I never used escape, but I was using that double feint quite a bit.
Oh yeah, Dakota Man's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Escape is kind of situational. If you get something to work out where it's like, oh hey, I remember this, or if you can get them by like an idol, that's the most times when I use escape.
Yeah. So my last round, I'll try to make it really quick. I played Josh, who was playing a Shiho inspired Blood Brothers Ronin list, or Ordered for Battle. He had Toshiro. He didn't have Eldest Brother. He didn't have Hiroto. He had some. Basically, the Blood Brothers were the bulk of his fighting force, and then he had a lot of scrubby. He had Toshiro for Ronin, and then he had a lot of scrubby. He would put in and out some scrubby, low costing Ashigaru for his Shio portion. In this case, he took archers to kind of go against me. He did have flanking, but I wasn't concerned about it. I made sure that I had my bodyguards in range and kept Mizuki in sight, so that way he couldn't take Mizuki out by a lucky bow shot. And if he was shooting at my Mambas with their armor too, not huge, but it's still a little bit of protection and better than nothing. And if they took the Mamba out, I don't care. What basically, to kind of sum up what happened, Mizuki was the MVP of the game. I pinned down the Blood Brothers with mind control.
Oh, okay.
First thing I went after, I think Shawang is the one that has the brutal, and he's the real big sword master.
Yeah.
Not Yanjing. He's not
Shuang,
Yanjing. Shuang.
Yeah, Shuang.
Yeah. So I got him first, and my first target was Bachi.
Oh.
I took out Bachi in support. But and then the trick was, and then there was one where I had enough ki where I got Shuang, and it was still active, but he had already used up the other one, and I can't remember his name either.
Baldi or Yanjing?
Give me a second. Let me get to that picture.
I was gonna say Baldi or Assassin.
So this guy here. No, Baldi was back here. It was this dude up here. Shuang was back here.
Oh, that's
behind
probably
this tree.
The assassin.
Yeah, so he was exhausted. I mind controlled him. He still had an activation. I mind controlled him early. Or I was about to mind control him early. I forget when we took this picture. Long and the short of it was when you see the 2 mind control tokens on him, and he doesn't have an activation. Long and the short of it is he comes in and kills. He goes and engages him, and then basically I just have the Blood Brothers just beat the crap out of each other, and that tied them up. There was an archer who came out here. You'll notice Itsunagi standing by himself. That should be self-explanatory. The archer came out of the tree and decided to go here. He had some other stuff that was coming over here and kind of harassing stuff, but because in order to get Tactician, he staggered his flankers coming in, so he could try to get Tactician on more rolls, more rounds. So eventually threaten here, but I've got a Mamba and I've got Masunagi. I'm not worried about that flank. Yep. Over here, I got a Mamba, Mizuki, and a Bushi. You notice how the Bushi's facing this way because I want to make sure he's coming he's going to be covered. If he's coming there, if he comes over here, but he can't come in here. And if he comes in this way on this board, I got him the other flanker. So I was covered with the flankers. Long and the short of it is there was a couple misplays. His dice were absolutely horrendous. But of course, if you're trying to resist Mizuki and I'm active, so you're throwing 3 dice. All right, I'll still take that because if we tie, great, you rolled an 8. I rolled an 8 too. I win. I'm active. So Mizuki comes out ahead. If he had resistance with those 3 dice, it's a whole different story. Then I'm a bit more cautious. But it was basically I used Obey. I used a couple Hypnotizes. Mizuki was doing the load, and honestly, I was just forcing him to do damage to himself. So it was rough, and I've been in those games. That's frustrating. So at the end of the day, I got the big victory out of it. I tied him up really good. We talked about it afterwards. Toshiro also didn't help because I don't have any archers.
Aggressive.
Eventually, Itsunagi went back down, or maybe it was Masanagi. One of the two of them came back down. No, it was Itsunagi came down and faced off to Toshiro. But yeah, so you're putting damage on it, and then all of a sudden they're aggressive.
Yep. And
with only 1 activation,
you really don't want them being aggressive.
No, you don't. You really, really don't. So that one kind of went in my favor. It was a good match. It was rough for him, but in the end, it worked out really well. So that was the thing. I thought overall, I think everybody had, and my goal for this whole thing was everybody have a good time. And I think everybody enjoyed themselves. We had a great mix of players. I think the other thing too is we really didn't have, except for Cody and except for you guys playing at the end, and Cody and Brian, our locals, playing each other. I think just about everybody got to play somebody else out of their meta at least for 2 rounds, if not all 3. So you got to play a whole mix of people, which was great. Which is because you want to go and you don't want to play against people and that was the big mantra I was hearing from our group of our local meta was there going to be more people than just us 4? I don't want to play Jason. I don't want to drive an hour and a half and play Jason. Well, I know there's people coming, but I just don't know how many. So yeah.
I'm fun to play against.
It's not that you're not fun, unless you're Brian. Brian doesn't like playing against you. Because you frustrate him. You challenge him. There are
other times where he just walks all over me like I'm a doormat. Other times I frustrate the living hell out of him.
Exactly. But again, it was nice to play other people. So let's get it. So Jason came in first, Brian came in second, Tyler came in third, Eric came in fourth. Unfortunately, and if you want to see the rankings, check out Longshanks. It's got it all. It was great. We had prize support. We were out of there. We were out of there early. Got home by 7. Before 7, it was awesome. Yeah. Even with an hour and a half drive back. So just in general, great tournament. Great location to have a tournament.
Or if
you're just in Lake Geneva and looking for someplace nice to stay, free promotion. Great.
Yeah, I like it.
It was really nice.
Grand Geneva up in Lake Geneva is a wonderful place to go. Or if you're going to go to GaryCon, get there early, get there and enjoy it. Or if you want to do some skiing, whatever. It's Lake Geneva is a lovely town. So with that, all that out of the way, the goal that I was having for this tournament was, and this is something that we've been talking about amongst ourselves, is tournament play. What are you looking for when you go to a tournament? I'm looking for competition, don't get me wrong, but I'm looking for varied competition, and I'd like to have something of a casual atmosphere. I want it to be easy. I don't want people to just give me a victory. I don't want people to do that. I still will be expected to hold to certain tournament standards, but I want to have fun. I want to play against other people. I want to do stuff, which is different, I'll say, than running, let's say, a Grandmasters. Grandmasters, I still want to have fun, but it's a whole different level of competition.
Oh, yeah.
And as an organizer, as a player, I prep for that. As an organizer, I still want new players to come in because this is a premier event. It's something big, and I only can run so many events as one person. So I got a 40-person tournament or I got a 32-person tournament. I want to fill those things. And yeah, I'm probably going to have a handful that have got very little experience. I don't want that to be a downer for them. That's hard.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's tough in Bushido. I mean, once you especially make that cut, I would say to local tournament or kind of like, yeah, local tournament or from like your normal game night to like
Your
going
local
to
game night.
local game night to going to, you can get that way with like the tournaments, like with your local game store, depending on like that. Just, I mean, there's going to be some level of competition, then it depends on who shows up. Once you really get to anything higher to like that Grandmasters, I mean, unfortunately, kind of like Worm Hordes a little bit, that goes straight out the window because at that point, it's like the onus is more on the player to know pretty much what everybody can do or be in that position to ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it's like you can specifically get the answers that you want to look for, short of just basically getting all the cards and having to look them up on the app or something like that.
Yeah. So for those who are thinking going to a tournament.
And then knowing the nuances, because of course the game, it's like another part-time job just to know all the nuances with how all the rules, how they interact,
or even just the scenarios, because the if you buy the starter set, the book only has 3 scenarios. We're playing with the tournament, 3 or 4. They don't have the tournament. Those are tournament pack scenarios.
Oh, okay.
So they are they may be a variation. No, you have idols. I think you have
you have Ryoto probably.
You have Ryoto, and I think you may have a ring one and a VIM. But generally speaking, you're doing, depletion is not one of them. That's an advanced one. Segia the Zone, because it had a VIM, may or may not have been in there. And Sekio is a little different, and Botoku. There's a bunch of different ones that are in there, or God forbid,
Usakashi.
Yeah.
Or Osatsu.
That we didn't run that one, which is one of my personal favorites because that's a very good tournament one to play. You're not used to that as a casual player or someone who's new coming in.
Yeah.
I will say for one of the big things, if you're a newer player and you're going to go play in a big tournament, let's say at the GwtG or Adepticon, and you're playing in the big tournament at Adepticon, not what I will call Casual Thursday, which I'll talk about really briefly in a little bit.
Not Friendly Skies.
Is get the Bushido app. If there's any game that needs an app for it, that app is an absolute godsend. Thank you for that, Mutaz. It makes your life easier. You could at least see if something's errata, because if something looks a little fishy, it's going to be there for you to see it. And just having the cards and being able to click on, having at the top, being able to click on a certain trait or something and then have that information pop up. It's a time saver. It's for newer players. It makes it much more accessible. So strongly recommend getting that. Beyond that, and me and Dr. Dice, we've talked about this, tournament play versus casual play and the different expectations. So for example, if I was playing my second round opponent at Adepticon, I don't know if I coach him as much. Maybe I coach him post game.
This is you we're talking about. You'll coach him.
I would have coached him mid game anyway. But realistically,
let's go with the me example. If it was me round 2, and not to sound super dick about it, it's like I would bring it up after the fact, or again, it would be like a post game thing. It'd be a post game thing, or if it's like getting towards the end of the game and it's kind of like we figured out where it's going, and if I really see where my opponent's really down on, like I don't, you mop the floor. I mean, what the fuck was I supposed to do? Then it would be like that moment of like, this is where you could have probably had a good chance to gain some momentum or get the advantage or get the drop on me and talk about it there. But there are some players where it's just like they just don't want to talk about it, so it kind of goes with it from there. Yeah. But otherwise, Bushido, unfortunately, besides you need to know your rules and your opponent need to know your own rules, is the game of like you learn the hard mistakes, and unfortunately, there's no good way around it. I know there are some games where it's built in where it's like you make a screw up, you can sometimes rebound from it. Bushido, if you make a big enough, if your screw up, depending on even if it's a small screw up, it leads to bigger results later on in the game, and that's the that's where it's kind of rough sometimes, I think, for newer players to go into those more higher level stuff, but they need to just get that exposure.
Yeah, and last thing I'll put in, and then I'll let everybody else kind of get their input on it. The other thing is too, when you're playing in a tournament, just how forgiving are you going to be on certain things, give backs, take backs, moves and whatnot. I'm of the mind that once the dice are rolled, that's it. You really can't rewind things
Yeah,
back
or
too
I mean,
far.
even
If
if
I
the
make a
dice,
mismove or something like that. So, for example, you were saying Haname, oh, I totally forgot that Ryu's got that. Can I take that back now? That's not
yeah,
going to be a take back. But if it's, before, just as the guy is moving into combat with Mizuki, and I totally spaced on it before we roll dice or anything, before we commit everything, it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm going to bodyguard.
yeah,
I should have called that right away, but now I'm seeing it before we're just as we're getting ready to roll dice. Hang on, I'm bodyguarding.
yeah,
That way you could restructure how you're doing your dice. You're not rolling it all back and all. Now I got to redo dice. But had I rolled the dice, yeah, I'm stuck. I'm not
or
gonna.
yeah,
I
even if
can't-
you
can't
reveal
roll
dice
back.
at that point, because there's some people where they might like reveal.
Yeah,
and
even
it'd
if
be
you
like,
reveal reveal dice,
Yeah.
that might be, but definitely if you roll it, because
oh yeah,
even if I reveal dice, we're still in base to base. You're just switching the models for bodyguard, and you're both gonna restructure how you do your dice anyway. So
Yeah.
that's not too bad. Even in a casual game, there's a point where you're gonna lock in, and that's just
oh yeah,
I'm gonna
we've
have to
had
learn.
that. I've had that happen many a time.
Hell,
Where it's
it,
like,
for
oh crap, I should have done that. Or the one day where I was like, oh, I run this mile. I'm like, why am I not getting that far up the board? And realize I was shorting myself on every measurement. So I was running, but I was only going 4 inches.
or for me, it's like, as soon as I'm rolling the dice and then they come up and I see my score, I see I got a success level 6. Awesome. And I forgot to call combo. Fuck. I can't say, well, I was going to call combo. Are you going to give it to me? No, I'm going to learn that I had better open my damn mouth every time and say combo, whether I have it or not, and then have my opponent correct me. So you don't have combo on that guy. Oh, okay. Well, that's just my gut reaction to everything now.
Yep.
So I don't miss it.
Yeah. So
That's pretty much. So, Dr. Dice, what would you think about the tournament scene a little bit?
Well, it's having played in a lot of tournaments over the years, and I did a lot of high level play on X-Wing when that was kind of popular before AMG ruined it.
You're always popular, sir.
Why, thank you. Oh God, oh, I'm blushing. I think when it comes to takebacks and things like that, I try to be as generous as I can. Okay, my objective is, and really has been over the last few years, primarily fun.
Mhm.
Right, getting limited edition tchotchkes and whatever, that's fine. That's always enjoyable. But the thing is, I don't want to be struggling to get something cool at the expense of having a good time, and more importantly, having somebody else not have a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the cause of somebody else having a bad day. That's just not. I don't want to be that guy, man. I joke around a lot, but I'm not nearly the douche that I play on TV. So I don't want to be that guy. And so a great example is if key is spent for a throw, right? Somebody wants to do like a throw attack, right?
Sure.
They spend key to take that ability, but they're going against a Minamoto figure that's immovable. I'm going to let them take that key back. I'm not going to be like, okay, you spent the key, but my guy's immovable. Bullshit. I'm expecting you to know every single card. Every tiny little keyword. There's too many. Mm-hmm. This game has 1 million keywords on every friggin' card, so I'm not doing that.
You got to remember everything. Yeah.
If you go to do an effect that would have an effect, and you roll the dice and you botch it, I'm not gonna. I'll feel bad for you. I'll commiserate with you. I'm empathetic because I roll like shit all the time. But I'm not going to, you can't retroactively take that back. That's right. So that's your point. If you roll dice, you're done. Well, I don't want to ever, I will always be the guy who tells people as stuff's going on, hey, by the way, just so you remember, this guy can do this, right? I'll remind them once. I'm not going to remind them a second, third, or fourth time. So later on in the game, if they focused on their game and they've forgotten what I told them about this fig, that's on them, right? But there's a million little keywords I've told you once. I've made sure to bring it to your attention.
Yeah.
So this way, I'm trying to be a good sportsman and a good friend. But that's it, right? So as we play through the game, I'm not going to necessarily stop you from making a mistake, right? What is it Napoleon said? Never interrupt your enemies when they're making a mistake. But at the same time, I'm going to try to be cool about it. If it's something that's super egregious, or more importantly, if somebody's a super noob, if I know you are a new player, all of this bullshit goes out the window. If I know you're a new player, I'm going to try to be a good sportsman and a good educator and a good ambassador for the community, and I want to be the best first or second opponent you've had.
Yeah.
Years from now, when you think about your Bushido experience, I want you to think, hey, you know what? I had a really good game against that fat guy from Chicago. I don't.
The one who kept drinking Malort. God.
Well,
what a weirdo.
They have pumpkin spice now. I told you about that. It's wonderful.
Dude.
It's delicious.
How can you pumpkin spice a Sharpie?
Like a retread tire with a hint of pumpkin spice?
No.
It's a Sharpie with a pumpkin spice.
Sir, I should have bought, while I was down there, I should have bought the bottle. It was expensive, but I should have bought the bottle so that the Halloween party would have it, but whatever.
No.
Anyway, the point is, it's delicious, and you just accept that.
If you're from Chicago, maybe. And even then, you're like a specific type of Chicago person.
No.
Anyway.
Night Train and Mad Dog mixed together in a bottle to make a ripple out of a paper bag is better than Malort.
Sir, it's a war crime in your mouth. It tastes
Yes, Malort is a war crime in my mouth.
It's grapefruit and hairspray and gasoline.
Who the hell said that you got grapefruit out of Malort? Is that what it really is based off of?
No, but that's what it tastes like. It's white grapefruit peel. It's kind of like the back. Don't worry about it. Anyway, the point is,
off track.
Bushido, just try to be cool. And if you're playing in a tournament, try to be cool. I will say this, though. Don't play dumb if you're on the other side of this. If you're on the other side of this and you're legitimately a new player and you actually are, and I'm not trying to be offensive here, if you actually are dumb, it's okay to play dumb if you are dumb. Do not play dumb just to get sympathy from somebody who's trying to be cool. Because I've run up against that guy too. Don't be that guy. Try to be a good sportsman and a good ambassador for yourself, because at the end of the day, you're going to know and you're going to remember how you played this tournament. And it's all you. It's all you. What you cheat, you take it away from yourself. You know what I mean? So that's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. I really enjoyed this tournament. I really enjoy this community for the most part. I think everybody's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to actually playing again. And to that point, on the way home, we started theory crafting and talking about a critical attack list.
Oh yeah, the Ryu crit strike list.
It just seems so luck based and so swingy and so much fun if I could actually manage to make it go off every now and then, because much like the games that we played together, one of the things I really love is when you get that yes moment.
Oh, and that's
what I want. I want that moment. So as much as I love my Minamoto, as much as I love my 7 wounds and my 3 armor, I'm going to put that extra wound aside. I'm going to put those just the scratches aside, and I'm going to grab a little crit strike, and I'm going to embrace it. We're going to see what happens there. So next time we play, hopefully I'll have that list together and ready to go.
Coming to an episode soon near you. So yeah, that was our tournament experience again. It's great, and looking forward to Dragonfall next year. Maybe we'll get more events in, or maybe we'll be playing something else. Who knows? But if you are in the Midwest and it is early October, I can highly recommend going to Dragonfall. It is a lot of fun. So definitely check it out. Check out their website too. I'll put a link down to their website so you could kind of stay up to speed with all things Dragonfall. Well, that brings us close to the end here. So just to kind of put a bow on this gift of a show, we're going to do our really briefly, what are we all doing gaming-wise lately? And I could say for me and Dr. Dice, we are in a 7-week, this will be starting week 2 or 3, depending on how we want to count it, of our Necromunda campaign. Hopefully I'll get some pictures of that coming soon. So one of our old friend, me and Gaming Jason's old friends from our old stomping grounds in lovely DeKalb, Illinois, known for barbed wire and Cindy Crawford.
At the same time, though. Right?
Not at the same time, no. Different eras.
It's called
Different centuries. Different centuries.
Completely wrong.
Completely different. But if you do want to see where barbed wire is made, it is behind the historical site is behind the Burger King right off of Lincoln Highway.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. One of our friends contacted us to get into a Necromunda campaign. The dude makes amazing terrain, and it is so cool to play on.
TV screen.
That little TV screen in there,
so
that was cool. So hopefully we'll get some pictures of that. And in order to make it worthy, I have actually painted up an 8-member gang. I have it all painted. I got to get some other stuff because I got some cash for my first round, even though I won but didn't win. Long story. But
it bribed the cops.
I had to bribe them. I bribed the enforcers. I got the win. I got some money. I got to spend it. I might get another guy. I might get a cyber mastiff. Who knows?
3 cases of Krispy Kremes all it took.
But I this weekend I got my gang painted up. That's wonderful. And then I've started working on some Moonstone figures because I did get the Wildwood along with Gump, and so I am slowly painting those trees up and discovering trees are not as cool to paint as I thought they would be.
Of course they wouldn't be. As a tree.
Yeah, but I thought I would put the contrast on. It's got nice curves. It works well. I got a dry brush, and it's just not. I mean, it looks good, but it's just not working out the way I want. So that's what I'm working on now. Hopefully, by the end of the week, I will have almost all the Wildwood done. Drainier is probably going to be the one that's going to give me fits, the little fox girl. And then once I get done with that, I'm back to Cyberpunk, and then probably assembling Carnival terrain and assembling some historical miniatures for little clash of katanas or spears. So yeah, but if I get that Carnival terrain assembled, we'll have a giant Carnival table to do some fun stuff in Venice. What do you got going, Dr. Dice?
Oh, well, as we alluded to just now, I am also working with the Cyberpunk, right?
Or the Necromundo.
Well, Necromunda, yes, absolutely.
Cyberpunk also, yeah.
But also Cyberpunk, and so Monster Fight Club produced a couple of box sets that were similar to ones that they had produced in blister pack form previously. The difference is that now, in addition to the figs, they also include the cards for the game. So they've got them under these various names. One of the things that I wanted, however, out of these box sets was the gonks, right? So there's some gonks for the bozos because, again, when it comes to factions, they're like Pringles, and I'm not going to eat just one. So I've got pretty much every faction other than Arasaka and Danger Gals right now for that. And so I picked up the bozos gonks. I picked up the Tiger Claws gonks, and Maelstrom doesn't have gonks yet that I've seen, but yeah. I'm sure they will at some point. And then in addition to that, again, as I mentioned, so the victory in the second round allowed me to go take a look around the store. That was a terrible choice. And then I got into Conquest.
Never heavily. Good to go shopping on a Sunday at a small con like that, where all the vendors are like, I don't want to take anything back.
That's exactly what it was. It was like, yeah, we're gonna knock 20% off on this. So Conquest was nice. I got the Tyrannosaurus Rex riding orcs, which then I decided I was like, I'm not going to spend what I need to spend to get like the full unit plus the leader plus whatever. And then even though I went back to the booth like 3 other times for other things, but the real problem is I got home and I realized, wow, I really wish I had that leader. So that I had to order the leader from our friends up at Valhalla Hobbies up in Wisconsin.
Free promo.
Yeah, they if you're gonna buy Bushido minis and you're in the United States, check out Valhalla Hobbies.
For sure.
Right? They ship fast, they ship cheap, and they are solid people.
More than anything, they have it.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, absolutely. And they have it at a really excellent price. Mm-hmm. They aren't going to gouge you. Okay, so check out Valhalla Hobbies, seriously.
Yeah.
and I think they're also there's another name, GCT. No, they call themselves something else too online, but whatever.
Yeah.
Valhalla Hobbies will get you to where you need to be.
Go Valhalla. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one. The other game, of course, that I've been working on, in addition to all this Conquest stuff, is still Judge Dredd. So that's hopefully we're going to get some videos on the table of that. And then a terrible mistake was made at the aforementioned Games Plus. So the same weekend that DragonFall occurred, previously in that weekend, it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was working at the Games Plus auction as a volunteer.
Yep.
Part of what Games Plus does is they allow somebody, you could bring in whatever board games, card games, whatever you want. You go there, you get your bidder package, you go home, you put it all in either packaging or plastic bags or whatever it is, boxes. You bring it out there onto the site. You got the Post-it notes with $2 minimum bid, whatever. And when the stuff sells, you get store credit for it. And I decided that I was going to, because I had seen this game previously, Dragon Dice. It's an old game made by TSR, which is the original makers of Dungeons and Dragons way back in the day, right? That was Gygax's company. But they also made this game called Dragon Dice, which is basically a minis game where your dice are, well, maybe it's not really a minis
more
game.
Collectible card game, but it's dice.
Yeah, kind of.
That's the best way.
Yeah, because the dice have different rarity levels, but the whole idea is you're rolling the dice, and the face on the dice determines what you can do. Think like a really early fantasy version on an army level of maybe like a Star Wars Destiny or something like
Saga.
that.
Saga.
Well, now Saga lets
you have your little your little thing, and you got to roll the things, and you could do the different powers.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a crude way to explain it.
But they're right. Yeah. If you're a person that's played minis games and you played Saga, yeah. This relates. It takes the minis out of the equation, but the dice are your figs, right? So you got 3 different battlegrounds you're moving around. Anyway, starting to get into that a little bit. Really glad to hear that Gaming Greg has a bucket of these things from back in days of yore at your place. And looking forward to getting that on the table as well. So really, that's that, and then bourbon is primarily what I'm involved with today.
There you go. Gaming Jason, you got anything going? You're a busy man, so I don't know if you got a whole lot going.
I mean, it's more family stuff, or apparently making Italian cookies and, other life stuff.
That is very important, is making
otherwise,
Italian cookies.
I really need to be like, I'm starting to hit that gap where it's like, yeah, I should probably finish painting up like some of my Silver Moon stuff here, and then I've got a bunch of ninjas that I should paint. And then I did start my enforcers for Necromunda, but then I stopped midway through. Even halfway through slap chopping them. So, I mean, it's just a matter of I just need to actually feel the urge to paint, which never comes up, and just paint my stuff. So, but if I actually get stuff painted, then I could actually record it. So maybe now with not having the terrain stuff for Bushido will get me wanting to paint it more. Also, I'm not going to lie. I really do want to. Fuku's like almost done. So I just need to get him done, and then
we don't want FU on the board.
Oh, we totally do, because he's so much fun. He's so much randomness.
Yes, I know.
He's the epitome of it. Crit strike somebody, all or nothing. Oh, I take nothing.
Can I murder him with hats?
You might. I don't know.
His whole thing is that he's like so lucky that sometimes he just avoids death.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Well,
but it's all on a coin flip. So if I fuck up the coin flip, then he definitely dies.
50-50. Sure. So that is what we are all doing. So if you've hung into the end, thank you so much for doing that. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed listening to us banter about our tournament experience at DragonFall, a couple Kickstarters you might be interested in, and of course, what we have on our plate, what we're doing. Oh, yeah, that's what that is. That's what that is.
4:30 is going to be tough for me tomorrow.
It's going to be very rough for you. I don't, but you're young, so yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, for staying with us and listening. We hope you did enjoy this. If you have some comments of things that we said or have some questions, please put them in the comments below. We definitely check them all the time and respond as quickly as possible, because we love hearing what you have to say about our little entertainment and information channel. Whatever.
That's what we are now.
Wherever we're something. So, and beyond that, if you've taken the time to comment, why don't you ring that bell? That lets us know that we're at least on the right. You're getting subscribed. You're seeing. You're going to get notification when we come, and click that like button. That is, even if you don't leave a comment, click the like button because it lets us know we're on the right track. And finally, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We always appreciate the subscribers. We are on the hunt to getting to 400, and we are a stone's throw away from 400 subscribers. So help us get to that goal, hopefully by the end of the year, and that would be greatly appreciated.
Subscribe!
Subscribe!
What are you waiting for?
If you haven't done it already, it's just to click the button.
Do it!
Do
Click
it.
the button!
Do it.
Don't cost
Do it.
Don't be a jerk. Just subscribe.
So thank you again for watching. If you haven't done so already, also check out Dr. Dice on Instagram and Dr. Dice Game Reviews on YouTube. And we will hopefully see you in the near future with some more battle reports and gameplay videos. That's what we like to do, and hopefully I'll get my Bushido terrain back in the near future. All right. Thank you, Dr. Dice, as always. Thank you, Gaming Jason. Thank you so much. And everybody else, appreciate you being there. I got to get my hands. There we go. Appreciate you listening, and have a great day or evening, wherever you may be. So long, everybody. Bye-bye.